No, they would not. Why do you think that after the UDP went to court and said, you know what, guess what's going to happen? We are also challenging the legality of the appointment of all these governors. And out of the blue, the government decided, you know what, all deputy permanent secretaries, you are now governors. Governors, you are now deputy permanent secretaries. If they had the judiciary under their control, they would not have done that. Exactly. You know what is compromised? And that is what Barrow is doing. In fact, sir, you've given me something to talk about very soon. Do you remember when Kemeseng Jammeh took the government to court because the amendment to the constitution that added secular to our constitution, which was wrongly done, when Kemeseng challenged it in court and the court ruled that that provision of the constitution could not be changed, Jammeh decided not to implement it. He didn't care. And that's what Barrow is doing when they are not doing that. So to blame the judiciary for doing their job, well, you know what? This is subjective. Anybody can accuse anybody of corruption. I've not seen it yet. If I do, I'll make my mind.
It's easy. It's easy. And this whole idea that they help usurp the election results, that's my biggest beef. No, they did not. You lost, and you lost big.
Here is the election result, and I will come to that again. Every political party in that country had the access to the information, had a period where they had the revising courts established for you to go and challenge Seri and Marong's voter registration. Nobody cares because everybody thought they were going to win. And then you lost, you went to the courts didn't hear it. To me, I'm not going to lose sleep over it. Maybe if they had done their due diligence, we would not have this problem. But we have Marr now on.
Marr, it's good to see you live and direct.
But Sol Baji, the real voter roll, that's what everybody had. You were part of the government. I was part of a polling agent. When you come to vote, Marr, maybe this thing. When you come to vote, it is we have to ascertain that you are on the voter roll to be able to vote. And the one that was produced and given, it's not like you're giving that voter roll the same day of the elections. No, you come with yours, you have yours, I have mine, and all this thing. Marr Nyang, number 1 Garden Street, New Joswang, voter this thing, I check it, you check it, everybody check it, they say yes, it's correct, go on vote. That's how it works. But anyway, Marr, thank you so very much for coming.
It's a pleasure. Look, I just wanted to say that we respect our judiciary highly, and that is the reason why people like us, Coach, and all the others that are having issues with government procedures that are not incompatible with our laws, we go to the judiciary. And because we know that the rulings that are going to come from the courts are going to be based on the case laws or the statutes or the constitution that we already have. So I mean, I also have a high respect for the CJ. I think he has really revitalized, or should I say, rebuilt the judiciary, and he has restored the confidence of the public on the judiciary system. No system is perfect, including the judiciary. But looking at the sub-region, in fact, there are surveys that have been done, and it has ranked the Gambian judiciary, I guess, was it 7 or 11 in Africa. So that just shows you how we have developed as a country and our legal system. What is concerning is the judiciary making rulings and the executive picking and choosing what type of ruling to execute. We have seen in instances where they have respected the rulings of the judiciary. For example, the case of Yakumba Jete against the clerk. When that ruling was made, Yakumba Jete continued to execute her official responsibility as a nominated parliamentary member, and then others as well. And what we should not be seeing is when certain individuals who the executive are not happy with, the judiciary make rulings in favor of those individuals, and they decide to give a deaf ear to that particular ruling. That is what is concerning, and that's not something that we should be really entertaining. And I think the judiciary is high time that they also need to pick that up and then make sure that the executive execute. Like I said, they cannot go to the street or go and whip the executive that you have to do this, but they have to make so and tell the executive that when there's going to be a meeting outside the court, that look, this is the precedent that have been set by the executive. These are rulings, and as a country that is practicing the principle of separation of power and the rule of law, the rulings that came out of the court, we expect the responsible authorities to execute those rulings to the fullest. Now, this conversation must happen. Either civil society is going to bring it up, or the judiciary will have to have that cabinet conversation with the executive. That is something that we need to figure out. But I have, and I believe so many other people have, high regards in the courts and also the CJ.
Yeah, that's definitely unquestionable. Like Biden would always say, don't compare me with the almighty, compare me with the alternative. I think Gambian judiciary could do the same thing, compare them with judiciary within the sub-region. And I mean, that tells you a lot about the judiciary that we have today, no doubt.
Definitely.
All right.
You know, Solbaji is so interesting. When Solbaji would tell you how great PPP was and all these things, we've had our problems with the PPP, going to court with them. It was not always the rosiest thing, where they play on technicalities and all that. But at the end of the day, let's just understand that I think the focus should be on Barrow and his government to respect the decisions that have been made by the courts.
Rulings coming
Because
from
that's
the
the only way we'll avoid anarchy. That's it. Because if you cannot trust the courts, then you take the law into your own hands. But Marr, recently you had to deal with the police. I don't know whether you can discuss that case. You were arrested together with Mr. Cham, the Speaker, the Youth Parliament, and congratulations to him and his colleagues for holding that youth award last night. And the reason was the ferry. And I've seen that you've been talking about the ferry a lot. What is the state of the ferry and what is the state of your case? Maybe to just give people an understanding, why were you arrested in the first place?
I hardly talk about it. I think there was only one instance where I had a conversation. I believe it was with one media, and I briefly talk about it, but I will talk about it in detail here. The ferry issue, we did not just jump out of the blue. We have been following the issue of the ferry since a couple of years ago. And to just say it here, in 2012, Coach, I was arrested at the Barra terminal, and I was severely assaulted by an immigration officer because of the administrative discrimination, or I would call it, or the discrimination that the immigration officer was manifesting in different nationals, right? They know this Gambian or Senegalese or someone they suspect not to be a Gambian, and they will ask you for your laissez-passer. And you present your laissez-passer, but just that is not enough. To rip you off of your money, they will start assaulting you, making you to panic so that you can give them a token. So I stood up against that in 2012, and I was arrested, handcuffed, and beaten by an immigration officer in Barra. So this is something, the ferry has been an issue that I have really been talking about and protesting individually for a very long time. So anytime I go to the ferry, Coach, I always feel unhappy and angry that since when I was a child going to school, the ferry has been in the same state that it used to be. You look at the queuing system, Coach. If I am to use the ferry 5 a.m. and you take a flight 5 a.m. from Banjul, you will likely reach US before I can board into the ferry and then I reach Barra. So it says a lot about how bad the administration of the Gambia ferry service is. And we've had multiple ferries working. But at the same time, even if you are on the queue when you were supposed to board, they need to get bribed. The queuing managers there have to be bribed for you to be able to bypass the queue so that you can make it to the ferry. And that inequality at the ferry has been there and is still ongoing, and it has to it has to be addressed. So the whole issue was in last year at Gambia Participate, we did a social audit. We did a social audit at the Gambia Ferry Services, and we had presented the findings of the respondents that we have interviewed to the management of Gambia Ferry Service, in which civil society and other authorities also participated. The Gambia Ferry Service acknowledged the findings of those ferry services. And one of the findings were there was safety issue, that people do not have sense of safety and security when they board the ferry. The issue of the toilet as well was raised. And also when you
That's Musa Jang's beef, beef thing. That's the toilet at the ferry. But go ahead.
yeah, yeah, it was so bad. It was just so bad. And the other thing that was also recorded was people pay for their ferry fares. You come with $50, and they will tell you how much weight it. So if you're in a rush, right, you will likely leave that $15 with the teller and board the ferry, right? So imagine how many people will leave their $15 with a teller in a day, right? So it was just a lot of issues that were recorded, and we presented it to the ferry, and they acknowledged. But we know, I mean, I am not the type of activist, or I'm not an activist actually. I'm an advocate. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
You're not one of those activists on steroids, like someone that I know. You're an
Yeah.
advocate. I like that.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, the reality is, whenever I start advocating for something else, I have to see change before I can move to the other things. So that's why you hardly see me talking about all the issues. I have to get into one thing, focus on it, and get the change there, and do it for another thing. So when we did the social edit, we had the evidences. We engaged the Gambia Ferry Service. At least something will have been done. The change issue, nothing has changed, because the excuse that the Gambia Ferry Service gave us was the central bank used to supply them with small denominators, small notes, right? And that wasn't the case. And I told them, look, even a Nopal seller around that ferry, if you buy Nopal from them, they will give you a change. So it's not an excuse that central bank is no more supplying you with these small notes, and as a result, people have to leave their change there. That's not supposed to be the case. That's illegal. Now, that was somewhere around 2023, right? Late 2023. So when this thing happened, in January, I guess there was a breakdown as well. So in April, when the ferry, April 12th, when the ferry had a breakdown, we sat and like, look, the ferry issue has been going on since when we were young, and it's going to continue, right? It's as if these people are immune on pressure from the public, because we talk about it and then we move forward. Something has to be done. So when I started talking about this, I realized that the National Youth Parliament were already planning to have a protest, and Nyomi Hands were also planning to have a protest. So there was no need for us to be having different protests at the same time. So I decided to join hands with National Youth Parliament and Nyomi Hands for us to have a coordinated protest. I mean, we applied, and as you know, we were denied a permit to hold that procession from the Eye to the Gambia Ferry Service. And we were having this conversation at the police. The issue of the OIC was raised. And I vividly remember one representative from Nyomi Hands told the Deputy Inspector General of Police, look, the OIC is important, but our livelihood is more important than the OIC. We are starving. There's economic crisis over there. Our children can no more cross to go to Bara, to go to Banjul for school. They have to use the boat, and the boat was becoming expensive. They have to give their child $300 at most for them to be able to pay, because $75 is what you're going to, $75 to $100. That's what you're going to pay for the boat. They have to solder you on and off the boat, and each of that you have to pay about $50 for each, and then also your school lunch. So they said, this is more important to us than the OIC. And then we also told the DIG that we all welcome the OIC, and then we want the OIC summit to be successful. However, this has nothing to do with the OIC. This has to do with a particular sector within the state-owned enterprise. That is the Gambia Ferry Service. Our protest is targeted to the Gambia Ferry Services, not to you as an individual, not to the president, but to the Gambia Ferry Service, because we wanted to see change in there. Back and forth, to cut the long story short, they denied us the permit, right? So, look, the Public Order Act says before you can hold a procession, right? And procession can be defined in different ways. But to my understanding, procession here means moving from one place to another using a PA system or placard, right? That is how, with or without a placard, in fact, but moving from one place to another, that's how I'm going to define a procession. That's what the Public Order Act Section 5 says, right? And if you have to use a PA system, you have to request for a permit from the police. And yesterday I was addressing this to someone else, and I told them, look at our GSM companies, right? When they're going for caravan, you see them with their trucks, right? With the PA system doing the advertisement. They might likely have their permit been granted by the police to do the advertisement. When there is a commemoration of a particular day or a holiday, you in fact see the police escorting that group, because obviously you're going to cause traffic in a particular area, and that's why you have to seek a permit, which I support. You have to seek a permit so that the police will control the traffic so no one gets hurt, right, for a particular period of time. Now, those people, you never see them being denied a permit to hold a procession and commemorate a particular day, whether it's a World HIV Day or they're doing advocacy or awareness raising on a particular issue. Those things happen. But denial of permit is only common when you are to hold a protest or a procession against, malpractices in the government, or a protest whose objective is to hold government accountable. You are likely not to get a permit, and we know we are not going to get a permit. Now, I sat and my team and with NYP, we wrote a statement and they said, look, we have been denied a permit. We cannot hold a protest. However, we cannot hold a procession. However, individually, I stated that I am going to go to the arch and do a sit-down strike from 10 to 1 p.m. I'm not going to hold a placard. I'm not going to use a PA system. I will just go there and sit. Whoever is aggrieved with the issue of the ferry and you want there to be accountability, you can join me. So that's what I said. And Umar also said the same thing. Others also said the same thing. So we went there at the fair, at the art pavilion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to bring this up first. When we negotiated with the police, when they said they are not in the position of providing us enough security, because what we told them, since we cannot have the procession from Banjul Arch to the ferry terminal, what we proposed for us to meet in the middle was the ferry terminal is a gated community. Why not you allow us to get into the terminal? You lock the doors, give us security, we protest, make our statement inside there for a couple of hours, and then we will go. And the question was, what are you going to achieve from that? Our answer was, we're going to achieve that our message has been sent and we are able to demonstrate our human rights. They told us we don't have the manpower right now because we have deployed most of our security personnel in preparation for the OIC. Surprisingly, that April 21st, when we were heading to the arch to do the sit-down strike, we found dozens of armed security officials. And for me, the double standard was, you cannot give us security for us to be able to do a 1 or 2 hour protest within the ferry terminal, but you can supply or you can deploy dozens of armed officials to prevent us to do a mere sit-down strike. And for me, the law and this is the reason why we want to go to the court to seek for a judicial review, whether sit-down strike is illegal within our laws, because our law did not say that you sitting at one place doing nothing but to manifest your disappointment or frustration in a peaceful manner without obstructing the movement of people is illegal. There has to be an alternative where people are able to manifest or protest in a very peaceful manner without disturbing the businesses of others. So for us, we have the conviction that that is within the ambit of our law. The Arch is a public space. Anyone can sit there, and as far as you are peaceful and you're not disturbing anyone else, that should be acceptable. So that's what happened, and they came to the Arch. They said we should leave, and I told my people, look, I don't want no one else to be arrested because of me, so let's move. So I drove them from the Arch. I went around the terminal to wait for Omar. I in fact called Omar while he was already at the Arch. I told him, do not go to the Arch because the police are already there, and we have had a conversation with them. They said we should not use it, so we left. So meet me at the around the terminal where the garage where I parked my car. So while Umar was heading to me, he got arrested at the Arch. So I tried calling him several times. I couldn't reach him. So where I was standing, some of them were infatuated in my car. They found us there, arrested us, took us, and detained us in a jail cell for a couple of hours. And according to them, they saw a video from one of our, one protester who was calling for people to move to the terminal, in the terminal there, and do their protest since there are already armed security officials there. That was the statement that they gave us, which led to our arrest. And until today, we are reporting to the police. Last week, they called us for a meeting. We went there, and unfortunately, the meeting could not take place. They said we should go back again on Thursday again. So it's a bit frustrating, and that's the reason why yesterday I had to. The police. It's an institution that we should look into and then make sure it is professionalized, to increase the professionalism of the police, and then make it to subject to the citizen authority and not political authority.
Yeah, I'll let others to come in because then I would ask you about the police, especially with the arrest that they are doing and having people there for 72 hours. Sari and Musa, you can come
in. My take, Domar, I'm sure I was gonna ask you about the state of our democracy. And if there is one thing that I believe undermined that, is this whole idea of calling people for questioning. Because I've seen it, whether it was Madi Jobate, whether it was Youngs, whether it was yourself, whether it was Alaji Bora, and most of the time nothing would come out of it. And it makes me wonder, what is the motivation? How does that help? The state of our democracy, and what are they really getting out of this? To me, it doesn't make sense. It's one thing to be the guardian of the law, but it's another thing to just call people for questioning, for nothing. Taking Ibrahim Adiba's case, for instance. There was an audio that is out there. They've listened to the audio. They should have been in a position to know whether is there a case to bring against this guy. But again, that didn't stop them from calling for questioning. And most people really see it as nothing more than, a tactic to waste people's time. I think that is something that we need to get away from. That is something that, the previous government that we used to have, was known for. And if I were this government, these are the kind of things to stay away from, totally. Now, if you have a legitimate case against somebody, I don't think there's any reasonable person wouldn't want you to, call them. But it's unfortunate, like you said, this happened, what, a month or 2 months ago? And you guys, when you go there, what do they ask you? Absolutely
nothing.
Nothing. And then at the end of the day, nothing is going to come out of it. I don't think whether they're wasting their time, they're wasting your time. And seriously, it undermines the state of our democracy, if you ask me. Really, it doesn't help at all.
Yeah, I think Mr. Marr is talking. I'm not sure whether he's muted or not.
No. He always does that. He's on the phone talking to somebody else.
Okay. All right. No, look, with all respect, Mr. Jang and Coach, in the previous government, the army and the NIA, they were used by the state to inflict fear and human rights violation on the subject of the government, which is the people. We have seen total transformation of the army. We've seen total transformation of the NIA, now the SIS. What we have not seen being transformed is the police. What the previous government used to do using the army, the police are doing literally what the army used to do. The only difference here is they have not been killing, right? But they're doing worse than what we expected, which is subjecting people to this unnecessary arrest, questioning, and then also asking people to be reporting every now and then without taking any legal action. And I said to told this police, if we are wrong, right, you can take us to the court. Let the court decide whether we are what we did was wrong or it is illegal within the ambit of our laws. So, but then asking someone else to be going out every now and then and then reporting, and if you fail to do that, they come to you and then pick you up and put you in a jail cell. Look, what I was saying. See what happened during the coronavirus, Musa. When they asked people to be in-house and do social distancing, when people got tired, what happened? They had to move out, right? And then there was this conversation of having herd immunity. That's exactly what is happening now within our democracy, because people know that they are going to be arrested, right? And so they get an assessment. That was it. Like if you put someone else to the wall, and then it is unacceptable. And then we told the police, what you were doing, you were protecting the Gambia ferry services from accountability. And then you have police officers that have to now use a boat from Bara to Banjul to come to work. And their safety is at concern, their security is at concern. All thanks to the Gambia ferry services. What we are doing is not political. We are not going to the State House to protest against the president, but to an authority, a state-owned enterprise. In fact, that issue cost the state a lot of money, because the ferry not operating means millions of dollars, over $20 million was going to be lost to the state. But still, the state or the Gambia Post Authority is going to use their money and pay the salaries of the Gambia ferry services. And in fact, there was also another report that was done by journalists Lamin Jahate and Modu Diouf. I mean, it's concerning that the ferry services continue to procure engines every now and then. The last time they procured engine was in January 2022. 2 years later, that engine had an issue. So what do you expect us to believe? We have to be suspicious that there must be issue of concern, financial concern or procurement concern in the purchase of those engines. Perhaps they are not in a good state. And that's the reason why the ferry have been having issues. The other question that we also have to ask, do we have to wait until the ferry gets this bad, or until people drown and lose their lives and properties in the River Gambia, for us to be able to come out and do something about the ferry? And that was not what we are going to do. We have to make sure and it is fixed. Now, the ferry is working. At least the Kuntakinda ferry is working fine. You heard President Barrow saying that it takes 15 or 19 minutes to cross before it used to take an hour. So yes, right now they're doing well. The Kuntakinda is doing well. Hopefully they're able to sustain that momentum. But Kanila is still down. So there's only one ferry that is flying between Bara and Banjul right now.
So is it taking 16 minutes to cross now?
And I had to ascertain this with someone else, and the person told me yes. She timed it. Around 16 minutes on a low tide, or high tide. The ferry fly between Bara and Banjul, and before it used to be an hour.
Okay, Musa, I'm asking because we've seen people climb 500 meter about tree.
So Sariang, you've been out there talking, we couldn't hear you. I guess you were in another conversation.
No, I'm on another conversation. I'm talking to my young man here, my nephew. So.
Oh, okay. Because I'm like, okay, we can't hear you, my brother. You were getting animated a little bit.
Thank you, Bob Ture. Musa is from a different planet, different from us. You're right.
Of course, man. You said I was being animated too. I don't know how I'm being animated. Is it the hand gestures or what?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, but Saria, go ahead. You have questions for Marr?
yeah. So, Mr. Nyang, thank you very much for joining us. I listened to you and the state of our democracy. Obviously, democracy needs to be nurtured. It needs to be safeguarded, and this is our baby. And it looks like at least what we all aspired when there was a change of government, there's still room for improvement. And what are some of, obviously you are an advocate, what are some of things that concerns you in terms of how the security, respond to certain events, and especially when it comes to citizens exercising their democratic rights?
What concerns me in our democracy, there are a couple of them, and I will just list the highlights. One is the conduct of the police, right? The police cannot always be arresting people whenever a statement is made that they are unhappy with, right? There are statements that are made against Lawyer Dabo that are not appropriate. They would expect that obviously Lawyer Dabo will take a case to the court for either libel or defamation, but he wouldn't do that. But if a statement is made against the president, right, they will take that up and then start questioning people. Remember Dr. Cisse as well, when he made a statement, he was arrested and detained at the police for a couple of hours, or in fact, I believe was it a day or two. The same thing to Mari Jabate, Alaji Bora, now Ibrahim Diba, and you name it. That is unacceptable, right? If someone else make a statement, you cannot use the issue of national security to invite them for questioning. Or, I mean, even this guy, Sabari, also did the same thing to him, right? So it is becoming too concerning that whenever citizens exercise their freedom of expression and the freedom to express their opinion, they got arrested. And then also whenever citizens wanted to go out and protest or call for accountability, they will be denied that right. And if they use any other presumably legal alternatives, they will be arrested, right? And that is one of the concerns that I have with the police. There, like I said, within the police as well, there are so many servicemen that wanted to do very well, but knowing how the security operates, they are subject to certain authority. Now, that authority is what we do not know. Who is that authority? Is it the Inspector General of Police, the Deputy Inspector General of Police, or from the Office of the President? They have to come and then tell us, we receive orders, we receive directives. We need to know. I mean, the TRRC already made this clear, right? Whenever the junglers or security officers testify, they will say, we receive orders from the top. But you, as a reasonable person, should know what to do, whether that order that you have received should be implemented or not. So that is one of the challenge. And for the good ones that wanted to do well within the police, they are also facing that challenge. Now, the other issue is lack of accountability within the public sector. What Hamad Ba said during this press conference is not a surprise to us. In fact, we did documentaries of land corruption within the Gambia, right? How some people that are not in fact in the government call themselves alcalos, allocate lands to soldiers and ministers. In the case of Lamin Babylon is one example. I mean, the state made it clear that Lamin Babylon is not a village, and one guy named Lamin Jaju, who called himself an alcalo, is not an alcalo. But till today, that case is unsettled, right? The two alcalos in Lamin Babylon. Now you look at the Ministry of Lands as well. What Hamad Ba said, there are two sides of it. One is concerning that these issues are known to the government and no actions have been taken to hold those that are responsible accountable for it. The other side of the spectrum, or the other concern, is the administrative lapses within the government to build up a resilient system that is going to be resilient to land corruption and any other form of corruption within the public sector. So lack of accountability is also another concerning issue that I see in our democracy. And then the other thing we've already discussed it here, our honorable courts and judges making landmark decisions, and the executive or the law enforcer decide to pick and choose which one of those rulings they are to execute. There is also another concerns that I have within the sector, the public sector. One other thing that is very known is a reactive system of public administration. That's also what we have been seeing happening, right? You saw the case of UDP. This is the second time that the ambassadors had to resign from their political parties to maintain their position. The government should have known better before taking that step. This issue of the governors, the government should have known better before taking that step. So, they already have the Minister of Justice and the Attorney General who should advise them on legal issues. So, do they consult him first before taking any action that is going to make them look like I would not use any inappropriate term, but that's going to make them look bad at the end of the day when someone is challenging it. That is also one of the things that we have to really question. Now, the other thing is the issue of building, or should I say, other schools actually see it as just normal. But what is concerning is the political banter that is ongoing between the UDP and the NPP. It is pretty much unhealthy and concerning because these two political parties have a mass following, following them. So if Barrow is to make a statement that they are in power, and I'm not in fact going to repeat that statement because it's not something else that I will preach, and then the UDP also coming up to make a counter statement on that is concerning. So that is one of the things that also concerns me in our democracy. I can name a lot until the end of this call, but those are some of the highlights.
All right. Thank you very much. So you mentioned something about the security forces, say police in general, where there are good ones who wanted to do the right thing, but you don't know whether they are constrained by lack of empowerment doing the right thing. So I think your organization is doing a great job. So in terms of outreach, and because there are issues that somehow don't they know that as police officers or security officers, they need to abide by the Constitution and the oath of their enlistment or oath of office versus being loyal to a president or an IGP. You can respect the IGP and you can take his orders because he's appointed over you. But if there are illegal orders that are contravenes with the Constitution or rule of law, you can stand up, not being repraised of your position. Is there some type of thinking, maybe the CSOs, your organization, to work with them closely, maybe do some type of training, go over these, rights and being at least be able to stand firm and protect the rule of law, not compromising their position, because it is both ways, right? So their ultimate job is to uphold the Constitution and their law. But the one thing is to protect those citizens, right? At the end of the day, when they get off work, they go back home, their brothers, sisters, nephews and nieces and all that. So how do you see that? Or is there any political willing on the side of the police hierarchy or the executive branch to at least work with you in terms of explaining the democratic, rights and requirements in a holistic way?
Mr. Barong, I think honestly, that is one of the basic things that every police is taught when they are being enrolled in the service. So they know, yes, we could do more, but those that are within the system, they also will likely not be able to resist orders that are being given to them to arrest an individual. Say, for example, today, if an order is given to go and arrest Pastor Bajao based on a statement that he makes, by law, they could go and arrest Coach and start questioning him, and then they will start playing around with the law, because when you arrest Coach and put him into detention, the law gives you up to 72 hours caveat, right, for him to be released. So to punish, if I can put it this way, Coach, knowing fully well if you go to the court, you might get your case thrown out. They will put Coach in a jail cell for 72 hours, right? So now, do we have to, start having conversations in regards to that? Yes, I think we should. They use the law. Maybe that's the legal power that the law gives them to invite someone else for questioning. And questioning as well is different from detaining someone else. If you are questioning someone, you have to make it to the person clear that you are under interrogation. So the interrogation, you should let the person go, but you cannot invite someone else for questioning and then you hold them there for a couple of hours, right? So we should use the same approach that have been used to reform the army. Since 2017 to date, did you hear any cases of concern within the army in either arresting people or beating up people or doing things that are really not legal, or things that are illegal to the people? Have we experienced that?
No, I haven't. I haven't.
Exactly. The same thing for the SIS, right? And this used to be two institutions that were very bad and politicized during the Jammeh era. But now those institutions have been reformed. So the focus will now be within the police, right? And I'm glad that there is a new bill, which is the police bill, that seeks to make the police more professional. But the most important thing is it could be there in law, but in practice, that is what we want to see changing.
All right, thank you. But there's a noise coming. Is that coming from your end, Musa?
No, huh? I used to have
there's a
really?
Background noise though. Yeah.
Can you hear it, Pasamba? Huh?
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
As soon as you say really, that was when it went away.
When it went off.
Some
Really?
Atlanta issue.
But Marr.
Oh, okay.
It's a
I have a question. Huh?
I thought it's Koji's turn.
Bonsariak.
No problem. No, I just No. But I think I thought you started. I went and it's Coach. I thought so. I don't know
what he did, like he always do.
Go ahead.
Stole your time to run in a question.
I will leave that to the viewers to view. No problem.
Come on. I mean, like you said, this calling for questioning, absolutely no doubt. It can be a stain to our state of democracy. But most people would argue that looking at the current 1997 Constitution, that is basically the biggest stain to our democracy more than anything else. So can you tell us how, for instance, bringing in the draft constitution that is out there could really strengthen the state of our democracy?
That's a very good question, Musa. The 1997 Constitution is a challenge. And if you look at the draft constitution, in fact, it makes the police a little bit more independent compared to that of the 1997 Constitution. I guess if my memory can serve me well, the appointment of the Inspector General of Police is more robust and democratic than the current system where the president can hire and fire an IGP. So and the police, I guess, in terms of the security, the 1997 Constitution came up with very good proposed, system of governance within the police compared to what we are currently experiencing. And not only that, but also issue of governance, right? It has established other independent institutions which the 1997 Constitution failed to do. Let's say, for example, the National Human Rights Council is established by statute, but what is more important is having it also, legislated, or should I say, proposed in the draft constitution to be an independent institution. The draft constitution also established the Anti-Corruption Commission as an independent institution, and also the IEC. Public finance is also very more robust given the the draft constitution, comparing it to that of the 1997 constitution. For example, what the draft constitution has done is it states that before a budget, in fact, is passed by parliament, there must be a committee within the parliament that must go out and then consult the people on that budget before it is actually approved, and has given obviously a pretty much convenient time frame for the parliament to review the budget, compared to that of 1997 Constitution, which is 30 days until of recent, when Honorable Alajimbo, to commend him on that, came up with a legislation, a proposed bill to amend that part of the constitution, so that now the executive will have to table the executive budget proposal 60 days instead of the 30 days, and hopefully that is done this year. So it is incomparable, right? The level of standard and legal standard, to put it that way, between the 1997 Constitution and that of the draft Constitution is incomparable. So, and that is the reason why we should be given this opportunity to pass this Constitution. Yesterday, we were in Burford, and a high school student asked this question, right? Why do the politicians have to deny us, or why do the politicians have to make a decision whether or not we are going to have a constitution? Why not us, the students? Or why not us, the citizens, make that decision? And that question really pushed me to really reflect a lot. The people need a constitution. 87%. This is a statistic that was published in 2020. 87% of the Gambians say they want a new constitution. The only thing that is holding us back to having that constitution is two people: the politicians and the religious group. Right? So these two groups of people need to understand the ultimate interest of the citizens for us to have a new constitution. The politicians have their interest to it, which obviously we started having conversation around it for there to be consensus in a way that it wouldn't supersede the general interest of the people. And the religious group as well, we had a conversation. And for me, that is the list of concern that I have when it comes to the religious group, because I see it as two religious groups defining or interpreting secularism in different ways, right? When we had this conversation during the Constitution we want convergence, the representative from the Christian Council stated that even though we do not have the word secular in our constitution, but in nature we are secular. The representative from the Supreme Islamic Council said, no, we are not secular in nature. We are religious in nature. Gambians, both Muslims and Christians, are religious in nature. So it makes me ponder upon the two divergent views between these two sects, right? They all agree that we respect the practice of other religions, not only Muslims and Christians, but others. So should we be held back because of the word secular? And the constitution, the draft constitution, in fact, before I get to that, the president of the Gambia Bar Association, Nene Cham, asked a very good question. And she asks, if hadn't been, Jammeh did not declare the Gambia as an Islamic state, will we be having this conversation on secularism right now?
Most likely not.
Most likely not. Because that was the trigger of us and rightly so, the Christians not wanting to go back to that, and no one would like to go back to that. But the constitution has guaranteed that. In fact, it has made it, the draft constitution to be specific, has guaranteed that. It has made it an entry clause whereby a president cannot declare the Gambia as a one-state religion. And it has also gone further to say that the National Assembly cannot pass any statute that is going to make the Gambia as one-state religion. So that is settled. So the secularism is one of the issues that these two groups are having issues with. And then also, yes, issue of Sharia law, to close that clause so that it is limited to Muslims, which is an easy fix for the executive to work on that. The other issue that is also raised is the issue of the expansion of the Sharia code by the Christian community. And that is also one of the things, but I don't think that's also another issue, because what has happened before, we used to have Qadi code. Now it has been, the jurisdiction has been expanded from Qadi code. They've changed the nomenclature to Sharia code, and I think there's an appeal court of it, and it has got to a standard of a high court. So I'm not an expert in that jurisdiction, so maybe we have to bring in the experts to debate on that. So that's also one of the issue. The issue of term limit, obviously, there is consensus, right? That there's going to be term limit. And for me, whether it is going to be retrospective or not, what is important is for there to be term limit. Any government that gets into office will know that that's going to be your term, that's going to be your first constitutional term, and then it will be rest on the shoulders or on the votes of the citizens to decide who's going to govern them in 2026. So for me, yeah.
So you talked about secularism. I remember when the debate was really heated, the question was not to have the word secular in there. And clearly they went ahead and made sure that secular was not mentioned in the draft constitution. But still, for whatever reason, the religious folks, fanatics, if you want to call them that, they still have issues. What do you think specifically is their issue? And also, do you believe that we will be looking at another constitution before the 2026 elections? Or is there a possibility that we might still be going into 2026 under the 1997 constitution? Because we're already 2.5 years into this term. What do you think?
Well, first, we will have to hold accountable the president on his word. Last year, he stated that before the end of the year, the constitution will be at the parliament. So that we must track and follow that promise. Number two, there has to be, our politicians must sit and look at each other eye to eye and agree on, pursuing the interest of the citizens, which is that they have the interest for them to be governed by a new law. The religious groups also have to agree on this issue of secularism, right? And I said it as well, whether the word secular is in the constitution or not, the most important thing is the constitution preventing the National Assembly and the president from announcing the Gambia as a one-state religion. So whether we have it there or not, it does not matter at all, right? And the constitution also made it a fundamental human right for people to be able to exercise their religious right.
Exactly.
So for me, the word secular is the least of worry. And when we are able to build that understanding, yes, there's going to be a new constitution. The other thing that the two religious groups also believe was the issue of marriage, right? I remember the representative from the Supreme Islamic Council said the constitution must be clear, and I quote, based on what he said, that marriage is between a natural man and a natural woman. And the Christians also believe that should be clear, that marriage is between a man and a woman. And Coach and Musa, if you look at the 1997 Constitution, the provision on marriage is very similar to that of the provision that governs marriage in the 2020 draft constitution. Maybe it's because of the new issue that is really
out there.
out
So,
there in our
so,
society.
so remind us, what did it say in the draft constitution as far as marriage is concerned? Sorry, Coach. What did it actually say?
So I will have to pull that out and then give you the correct meaning after this section.
Because I don't remember. I don't remember what it actually.
So the 1997 Constitution says marriage. Okay, I need to just give me a second. I can pull that out. But yeah, just give me a second until I.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
it says marriage shall be based on the free and full consent of the intended parties. So that's what the 1997 Constitution says, that marriage shall be based on the free and full consent of the intended parties, right? And then okay, that's subsection 2. But the most the one that is very similar to that of the 2020 draft is men and women of full age and capacity shall have the right to marry and found a family.
Any reasonable person would see that.
No,
actually,
and
the 1997 is much more progressive, really, if you really want to look at it. Much more progressive.
And you know what's funny, Musa?
Huh?
All these religious people that are all gung-ho on this marriage thing have no problem with a 13-year-old kid getting married. No, but that's happening. They would defend that. And a 13-year-old cannot consent to anything legally. But then they want to focus on this man and woman, man and man get married and all this stuff. It's just, I think sometimes we just focus so much on things that may not even be beneficial. To me, where I have a problem with this whole thing, we're very eager to invoke religion and culture when it's convenient.
Yeah.
But when corruption is glaringly looking at us in our face, we look the other way. And I don't think there is anything more frowned on or upon by religion than you illegally taking from the people something that would have benefited the people. And I think the effect on corruption on our daily lives is more than two grown men wanting to get married, or two grown women wanting to get married, or calling themselves gay, or this thing. So if you want to do culture and religion, do it to the fullest, but don't pick and choose. But anyway, that's just me and that's them. But Marr, about the Constitution in itself, do you believe that the executive has the political will to bring us the draft constitution untouched, thereby giving the National Assembly the chance to do what they were supposed to do before it was all torpedoed by Barrow and his gang, to give the people at least a constitution, a draft that they can vote on? Because at the end of the day, it comes down to the executive. They're supposed to, and we had the threat. The UDP is saying that we want the draft in its original form before the National Assembly. Nothing should be touched, and let the National Assembly do its work. And we've heard the executive talk about it shackles the president's powers. They're taking too many powers from the executive and all that stuff. Do you think President Barrow and his government have demonstrated anything to suggest to you that the draft that they'll be taking to the National Assembly will be the draft that they rejected in the first place?
I doubt the rejected draft constitution will be brought back to Parliament untouched. I am sure they're going to make some amendments. And this also brings the issue of transparency in this issue of constitutional reform. Right now, what is happening is the executive is engaging with these partners. They're having conversation off the record, right? I have not seen any public conversation that has taken place where the executive comes out plainly to tell the people, its electorate that wants this constitution, that these are our concerns on the constitution, right? And this is what we are planning to do. And they also now receive feedback from the public, right? Like the constitution, we want convergence. That was the whole purpose. And that was the reason why we also invited the NPP and the executive for them to come out. The people need to know what the concerns of these two groups are, because the general interest here is the citizens want a constitution. So are you going to prevent the citizen from having a constitution because of one or two issues that you have on the constitution? They're not. The people that put you there want a constitution. And the same thing I am also going to say to the UDP. It's either we both agree, they too agree that there should be a new constitution, and then give the parliament that opportunity, whether touch or untouched, let it go to parliament for parliamentarians to look at the provisions and then make sure that they agree within parliament. What should be done is done rightly and in the best interest of the citizens and the country. Then the citizens will decide at the referendum. Then us having this, this political muscle or banter between the two groups, and at the end of the day, we will not have a constitution. And it's not to the interest of the UDP that we do not have a new constitution. The same thing to the NPP as well, because NPP is not going to be here forever. Barrow is not going to be here forever. The law that Yahya Jammeh played with is the same law that is haunting Yahya Jammeh right now. The law that Macky Sall played with is the same law that got him out of office. So if you're pursuing your interest, it's obviously going to be a very limited one, and it's going to be within a short period of time. Now, the moment you leave, right, anyone that succeeds you could obviously use that constitution, because the 1997 constitution has more room for one to become a dictator than that of the draft constitution. So we need to be able to agree on the future of this country. If you wanted to be more of a progressive democratic state, we have to agree and get this constitution. If not, then let's continue having this 1997 constitution governing us and open the door for dictators to emerge.
Let me ask you this pointed question. Given I've watched our National Assembly, I've seen them deliberate. In fact, I've gone to an extent where now I'm becoming less interested in. Did you say hold on, Musa? I'm going Musa for civilization. No, do you think this crop of National Assembly members have what it takes to look at a draft constitution and amend it without being too political about it? Or do they even have the competence to do that? You've been dealing with them.
Well, given the precedent that have been set on this constitutional debate, in 2020, the vote to either let the constitution pass to the next year at the National Assembly was purely based on political lines. It was visible, right? The UDP voted yes for it. NPP and the ones that then NPP was not in fact for my guess, but the ones that were very close to be NPP voted no to it, right? That was clear. And but the APRC also voted no to it, because the APRC made it clear that they want to maintain Yahya Jammeh's legacy. So the National Assembly is important. I have some high regard with certain parliamentarians, and I'm sure dealing with them, they have also gone through certain proceedings where they make decisions that are in fact not in the interest of their parliament, in their party. It's going to be a very difficult answer, to give to your question, Coach. Most likely, it will be political. It will be influenced by political parties. The decision of the political parties, most likely, that is what is going to be influenced. If that is not the case, then I will be surprised.
Uncle Sarian.
Yeah, Mr. Nyan, thank you very much. So my question to you is, you've highlighted some of some of the areas that I think can be compromised in terms of, the religious aspect of it and, the marriage equality and all that. But what is the biggest sticking point? I mean, is it those clauses or the retroactive clause? What is it? I think I'm kind of getting too conflicting. People are saying the biggest sticking point is the retroactive clause that his term, the transition time counts, and he need that should be term limit to 2 times. That's it. So what is the biggest sticking point out there?
So due to the lack of transparency from the government, I will not be able to say exactly what the sticking points are. But reading the draft constitution and some of the information that you get here and there, one of the issues that the executive are also not happy with is the vetting of the ministers, right? The ministers in the draft constitution, they have to be vetted, I guess, and approved by parliament before they become a minister. And I guess that is not what the executive want. They perhaps want what is currently happening, right? Appoint any minister, and that's it. Consult the Public Service Commission without subjecting it to parliamentary approval. I guess that's one of the issues. The other issue could be the Secretary General and head of the civil service. The Constitution made that position independent and stated that that particular office should not be subject to any individual or authority, right? And so that's also one of the things that they want to challenge. The issue of the term limit, I guess, that has not become a big of an issue. The both camps believe that there should be term limit. The question will be whether it will come as a retroactive clause or not. That we do not know, and this is the reason why I said there is a huge lack of transparency from the government on the constitutional, the revival of the draft constitution. The conversation is between them and the stakeholders. We don't know what is happening, and it's already stated by this month. The Minister of Justice stated that by this month, June, they're going to gazette the constitution. We don't know what is going to be gazetted. We don't know what constitution, whether it is the updated version of the rejected draft constitution or the one that was there. So that is concerning. Constitutional building process shouldn't be like this, right? People must be up to date. If politicians can come out and then sell their, manifestos and their ideas and make promises to the public, why is it difficult for them to come out and to talk to the public on the issue that they have on the constitution? That is concerning, and it's really unconventional that it has to go through that manner.
Thank you. So I guess you're on the ground and you definitely know the public sentiment on this. But what kind of theme, or at least a consensus, that the population gravitates towards? Is it more of let's come together, compromise on issues that are very small, and pass on to parliament to do their ultimately these things? The onus needs to fall on them. They need to somehow come together, and there should be leadership, of course, inviting your organization and the CSOs. But what is the general consensus, though? I mean, what do you hear out there in the public domain?
The public wants a constitution. It's as simple as that. That's what I mean. As of yesterday, my team have been touring around the country, and anywhere we go, that's one of the things that we hear from the people, that they want a constitution. And in the beginning of this conversation, I also stated that an individual, a very young individual, stated that why do the politicians have to decide whether or not we should have a constitution? They want a constitution. They wanted to be given that opportunity to repeal these draconian laws that already exist. And that is what the citizens want. 87% of the population a study has revealed that they want this draft constitution to be passed. Now, the issue of marriage obviously is one of the things that the citizens are saying that it will be changed. And I just wanted to read to you. I promised coach that I'm going to pull out, or was it Musa? I'm going to pull out the clause on marriage in the 1997 constitution and that of the draft constitution, and you will see the similarities in these two, right? But the citizens want it to be clear. So if you look at section 27, which is right to marry of the 1997 constitution, it says men and women of full age and capacity shall have the right to marry and found a family. Now look at the similarity in section 54, right to marry and found a family in the draft constitution. It says a man and a woman of full age and capacity have the right to marry and found a family. And such marriage shall be based on the free and full consent of the man and the woman. So the TRC stated that this does not give any open door for same-sex marriage to be accepted, because they have done their consultation and this is what the citizens wanted, and they drafted the constitution based on the consultation and the interest of the citizens. So that is one of the issues that the citizens have, for it to be clear, which is an easy fix. The other thing is the issue of citizenship, which is also very minor. I do not get to have the full picture of what the main concerns are in terms of citizenship. One of the issues that emerged was citizens that were born in the Gambia without Gambian parents, right? If you're born here in the Gambia and both of your parents are not Gambian, right now it becomes difficult for you to have citizenship. So that's one of the issues that the citizens have been pushing, and we've known individuals that fall under that category, and they've also been advocating. And I think it makes sense for that particular child to be given citizenship whilst he or she was born in the country.
Okay.
It's complex.
Yeah. So, but coach, I have this follow-up question. I'm gonna throw the Musa aside.
No, that's all right. Go right ahead, sir.
So, Mr. Nya, I think I take exception with the citizenship question, though. I mean, considering some of us who live in the Western world and live here, work, pay taxes, we went through the process, and we're able to vote, and our kids become, if they're born here, they become citizens of this country, right? Natural born. I mean, what do you get? What is the organization doing, the CSOs, and what is the public sentiment? Is it? I hear they said the citizenship question, but do they want folks who've been in the Gambia for a while and they have kids there? They should become citizen, and how about the parents who've been lived there for many years? I mean, they've been paying taxes, they established businesses, and etc. What did the Constitution address that at all?
There is a specific section on citizenship. I guess it starts from section 14, and it has given different ways as to how someone else can be a citizen of the Gambia. You can either be a citizen by birth, and also you can be a citizen by registration, right? And what the Constitution says about that is you can be a citizen by marriage. If you marry someone else who is a resident and a Gambian, right, you can actually and there's a time frame, right? It says, I believe it's about 5 years, right? If you marry to someone else who is a Gambian and then you live here within 5 years, you can request to be a citizen of the country. So there are different issues from the populace, right? And I think the feeling of the populace, to be honest with you, has been more strict of allowing people to be Gambian. And the question that I have been raising is similar to what you've been saying. We have our Gambians that are outside the Gambia, in the US, in the UK, and other countries. Whenever they have a child there, the child becomes a citizen. And then we also always pray for them. Out there, right? So why guy telephone nga de wax moy yanala yalla may kayit yanala ko yalla yombal, right? Nga am citizenship. So why should it be difficult for us, the Gambia, right? Why will we make it difficult and stricter for people that have already lived here and then get married to a Gambian, not to have the citizenship, or in fact a child born out of a child born here with parents that do not have any nationality of a Gambian to not be entitled to have a Gambian citizenship.
Thank you.
Yeah, man, I believe that anybody who is born in the Gambia should be a citizen of the Gambia. Now, their parents, Saren, I don't know whether you've ever seen the application form for citizenship in the Gambia. It is the most cumbersome thing because I have somebody who has lived in the Gambia for over 2 decades and was thinking about becoming a citizen. And when she showed me that form, I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
I don't think there is that much of a clarity. And the issue about the citizenship, it needs to be clarified. And this is where the problem comes. You know, the politicians are all focusing on this voter registration and this thing. The problem that we have, Sarian, is this the people, what do they call that thing when you go attestation?
Mm-hmm.
Our current constitution, just like the 1970 constitution, does not guarantee citizenship because you were born in the Gambia. At least one or both parents or one of your great parents, grandparents, or what would have been born in the Gambia for you to become a citizen. But if I go there, I am from Guerre France, lived in the Gambia for decades, have not changed my citizenship, have my kids or whatever. When election comes, I can go and line up to vote. Guess what's going to happen when the alkali comes? Oh, this child, when them not Chingetembi. Kidomi Gambia. But chances are both of my parents are not Gambians. So we are giving documents already to people who are not legally Gambians because of the lack of clarity. This is why I believe the biggest mistake that the political parties made was this agreement with the attestation. The attestation is the biggest electoral abuse that we have in that country because it is creating a loophole where people who should not have had the voters card in the first place are given voters card. If you're born in there, Syrian will come and say, oh, no. Marongkunda, Kintekunda, Marongkunda, Alkali is here, and Gadema Saluna Sahaftan. You know, oh, Bakari Marong, oh, Mango was Singetipi, Mangato on Sabasango, by Coward. But maybe that came from wherever they're not Gambians. And these are the things that we have to look into. But I don't also believe we should just deny somebody the right to citizenship just because of the parents are not there. Most of the people here in the US, we have people here who've been here forever. They have no papers, but their kids who were born here were citizens. And they will tell you, oh, but we don't have the land size and all this thing will be overrun. Hey, let it be overrun. The way that people are coming to Gambia having kids is the same way that Gambians are going somewhere else and having kids.
Mm-hmm.
But that brings me to the other issue, Marr. The right to the diaspora vote. The 1997 Constitution is very clear that every Gambian of age or of a sound mind should be eligible to be registered to vote. But the diasporans are still to enjoy that right. And every day, every elections, we hear the Senegalese are voting in the Gambia, the Guinea-Bissawians are voting in the Gambia, the Mauritanians are, everybody is voting in the Gambia, except Gambians are voting outside for in their elections. And I heard the minister was asked a question at an other forum. And he could not guarantee the diaspora vote, but can promise that they are committed. I don't think we want promises. We want guarantees because it is our right. Do you see anything from your dealings? You deal with the executive, you deal with the opposition, you deal with the National Assembly, anything that would suggest that there is the political will for the diasporans to be enfranchised. We're talking about over 7,500,000 Gambians who contribute over 60-something% in GDP.
The right for I wouldn't even call them a diaspora, but the Constitution guarantees the right of every individual that is 18 years and above to be registered as a voter and to be voted for. The Constitution is already clear on that. Now, the IEC is the one that create the constituencies, right? I think that could be done by the IEC to create a new constituency, number one, as a diaspora constituency in the National Assembly, and then also create polling stations, right? Because it is the Constitution or the Elections Act did not state anywhere that Gambia is going to have 1,555 polling stations. That is an operational issue, an administrative issue at the IEC. So if IEC so wishes, they can create polling stations in and outside the Gambia where Gambians reside, so that Gambians anywhere will be able to exercise their voting rights. And you have stated it clearly. During elections here, Senegalese do have polling stations in the Gambia and they vote. But when we are having elections in the Gambia, we do not even have a polling stations in Senegal. So I really believe that the Constitution has already guaranteed that. Yes, the political will has to be there for the IEC to create new polling stations and perhaps a constituency to make it the diaspora's constituency. So right now it's blurry. I don't know whether the diasporians are going to vote in 2026 or not. And also, I guess there was a case that was decided by Supreme Court. I believe that was coach. It was done by you and others. And the Supreme Court made it clear that the diasporians are Gambians and they have the right to be registered as a voter and to be voted for. So it all goes down to operational issues. I don't think there's any legal gaps that will prevent the diasporians from voting.
Yeah.
But whether the political will is there is blurry.
Yes, and then I just got a message that I was listening to, and somebody was talking about how we have to be very careful with this citizenship thing because of the size of our country. And then if you just open it up where anybody who is born in the Gambia is a citizen, that might create a problem. But I understand that. But again, there is nothing that is stopping them from getting our papers as we speak anyway. Because all you need to do is get a letter from an alkali to prove that you are. Because to me, I don't think there is any document that is more important than your voter's card. Because it determines the manner of the your government, and determines, the laws that are supposed to be written in and who writes it. So if you can readily have that by Musa Jang sitting here and just telling people, my alkali kawurbi ki banga won singetembi, then you unless you can fix those, you're going to have a serious, and maybe it's something that we need to have a very frank conversation with. But like me being a diasporan, I don't see how I can just be comfortable with my child being born here and being an American and then want to deny it to somebody else, irrespective of the size of the land. But here is the other issue that I want to ask. Marr, your situation, your organization is focused on fighting corruption, accountability, transparency. That's what it is known for. Gambia participates. When you mention corruption, government officials will quickly dismiss it. It doesn't happen. What is the evidence of it? Do you believe? In fact, let me just put it this way. What is the state of corruption or fighting or lack thereof in our current situation over the past 7 years under Adama Barrow? Has it gotten worse? Have they fought it, or it does not exist? What do you see? You're the one who work on this. You're the one who does the research and do all that. So please enlighten us on the state of corruption and taking care of the public funds for us.
Well, it has become a cancer that has spread in the public service, in the public system, and that is vivid, and we see it broad daylight. You look at the Ministry of Health, the corruption that has been going on in there since the COVID-19 food aid package and COVID-19 emergency response funds. And now you also look at there's 10 million that was stolen from the global funds. You look at the GRA, the $1.1 million that have also been stolen by a allegedly stolen by a tax collector. You look at the Gum Petroleum, over $20 million is
dollars.
gone.
Is it dollars?
I think it was the dollars, something
Yes,
like that.
dollars.
Or
It was
dollars.
$1 billion.
Gone, yeah, and nothing has come out of it. Audit reports have also identified millions, in hundreds of millions of transactions within the public finance system that has not gone to the right way, or in fact there were not sufficient documented evidences to justify those processes. So these are not my opinions. These are facts that are out there. Corruption has really become diversified. It has become predominant in the public service, and fighting those corruption, I guess the will hasn't been there. The only thing that we have seen that is of a high corruption case that the government has taken steps towards addressing was when the Ministry of Justice took the case of the fisheries, Dr. Banja, to the court. But we know what the fate was later this year or earlier this year of that particular case. So you know, at the port as well, the same issue of corruption have been reporting. The same at the GRA. So at the Agriculture Ministry, it's a lot. I mean, if you look at the National Assembly as well, there's so many petitions at Parliament, and then Parliament is also investigating some millions of dollars that have landed in the Gambia through petroleum that associated with, which is associated with a Russian company, right? Over $30 million or more, right, was illegally made its way to the Gambia, and authorities let the money be wired outside the Gambia. So illicit financial flow, also Gambia is becoming a victim of it. So yes, it has become widespread and very predominant and broad daylight is sin.
Musa, you were there eating cake because Taylor birthday, Umi, but you can go ahead and ask your questions.
Oh, talking about birthday, Umi. So can you guys kind of sing her happy birthday? And I'm going to start. Happy birthday
to
you.
Happy birthday
to
me. Happy
birthday to you. I'm gonna play anyone. Musa cannot sing.
Yeah, you know, we gotta go with the flow at least. You have to lead that we have a rhythm, right? You gotta go rhythm, right?
No, all I want to say is happy birthday, Umi. And definitely, ko xam Musa Jeng ba mo joge Kawur ñëw na kala jëm Sénégal di sol daba kutu ñango ta may ñëw America ñu yóbbu ko ci the remotest state Missouri yow nga ñëw toon ko fu mu nekk nii ba mooy nekk président Ajara di sol xaftaan yi ñuy dawme Umi, thank you very much. Musa Jeng, you really married up.
Musa, but we gotta synchronize though. Let's start it. We gotta give Umi, because I always think about Umi's chicken when so I said that's it. I have to make sure I sing good happy birthday to her, right?
One are gonna go Ben Sika Renga. You know what Sika is?
Uh-huh.
You know what Sika is?
Fault.
Well, I'm not Sika.
Sika. Boy Jack, that's the only Sika that he has. If I can just really follow up with Pasama's question, because I see Dr. C say that same, it was on coffee time, I think, and Doctor came with actually it was Peter Gomez that raised it, and Doctor came with that and said, well, it's no evidence, this whole idea corruption could be linked to poverty in the Gambia, and try to rebut it. But there is one reality in the Gambia and most African countries. If there is one cancer that we have, it's corruption and the lack of political will by leaders. I can say for sure, if we're ever in a position to elect a person who is really committed, and I'm not just talking about, because any politician can tell you about corruption, corruption now. I mean, it's very easy to demagogue the word itself. But when you get into power, you don't do anything about it. If we're ever going to be able to turn things around, we have to have a leader who is committed to fight corruption. And corruption is part of us. It's not only about the government. I mean, we even have it in organizations in the diaspora, where people, Gambians generally, we have an issue. It's a culture in us. We don't deal with it. You know what I mean? And I can guarantee you, if Barrow is to be removed tomorrow and we bring in a new leadership, there is a propensity, a tendency that we will be seeing the same corruption because it's in us. And I don't know whether it's going to take us to change culture in us, or is it really going to take a leader who would actually come in and say, you know what, I am committed to fight this. Like Pasamba said, you work for Gambia Participate. Do you really think that this is just a government problem, or is endemic in us as a people, as Gambians? Everybody wants to, I mean, you work for a department, corrupt as hell, it's normal. You build houses, marry a wife, take care of yourself. You don't care about corruption. Unless it's directed somewhere else, that's when all of a sudden you get emboldened. What do you say to that? That the problem is much more widespread than just a government problem.
So we need a system that is going to combat human nature, and corruption is a human nature, right? So we all tend to be corrupt in one way or the other, not by stealing money only, but through favoritism as well. It happens in our household, right? So in combating that nature, you need leadership and strong laws, and that is what is lacking. We have the Anti-Corruption Commission Act of 2023. Still, it has been passed. The commission has not been established yet. But to combat the corruption in this country, you need the law to be felt by the people, not only those that are in the government, but those outside the government. Because what the law is preventing is, in fact, offering public officer a bribe. Right? That act only is punishable under the laws of the Gambia now. And then also a public officer requesting or soliciting favor or gift, or in fact promising that he or she is going to do something else in return for something from either an individual or from a public or private institution, that is also punishable under the laws of the Gambia. So it's about leadership. It's about laws being enforced. Whether we're waiting for the Anti-Corruption Commission to be established or not, the current legislation of the Gambia can detect, can investigate, and also sanction corrupt acts. So we have to have a system. We have to have people feeling that there's accountability of the accountability in their actions. Once that is felt, then we will see a less of a corrupt public sector. And this is how other countries have done. In your country, you know very well, if you don't pay taxes, the consequences that's going to come out of it.
Absolutely.
If you steal from taxpayers' money, you know the consequences. In Singapore and all the other countries, that's because in UK, that's because there is a working system. And that working system guarantees accountability. Our system does not guarantee accountability to some degree. And that is the reason why corruption is becoming more prevalent, because people conduct the act and then they're in government. But what happens as their accountability? The price of their accountability is either redeployment or they release you of your service. That is the highest level of accountability. And that does not stop people from committing these corrupt acts. But to answer the other question of yours, I can authoritatively link corruption to high rate of poverty. Right? The research has proven it several times. And I will give you one scenario today, Uncle Musa. If I am the one responsible for this NAFA, this cash transfer that the government is doing to the public, every month, right? I'm supposed to give to to a household $1,500, and I corruptly misuse that money, right? Am I not making that person's situation worse financially? Am I not contributing to the poverty and starvation of that particular? So that's just one basic example. So corruption is highly linked to high rate of poverty in the country. We have what? GDP growth, right? Meaning economic activities have increased within the country, right? But human development, this is not my report. Human development has been stagnant over the past 2 years. This is the report done by the UNDP in their Human Development Report 2023-2024. So, we can have more economic activities going on if, I'm not saying that's what UNDP said, that corruption is linked to lower human development in the country, but I'm just giving you the stats, right? Human development have been stagnant over the past 2 years, and the World Bank has reported that GDP has grown in the country in the past 2 years. So for me to make those analyses, I would need to ask the question, what is happening, right? GDP has grown, economic activities have grown. Economic inequality, according to the UNDP, also is concerning in the Gambia. So where is the problem?
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, it's really unfortunate. Not only is it part of our culture that the majority of Gambians really participates in corruption, and then you have a leadership that is not committed to fight it. Like you said, the only person that was prosecuted was Dr. Banja. And for the president to turn around somebody who really believes that he's committed to fight corruption and pardon that individual, what kind of message are you sending? It's not about what you say, it's the actions that you have taken. If we all believe that really taxes that we collect, all this money coming from outside, whether it's invested in agriculture, whether it's invested in education, and a good chunk of that money gets siphoned to something else, obviously that has a lot to do with the underbelly of corruption. So up and to today,
not only that, look at the reaction to the audit reports that were produced by the National Audit Office. This is a government institution that has audited public accounts only for the president and those within the office of the president to react and say the audit report is half-baked. That audit report is mere and it's a mere opinion. Right? Auditors do not just come in and make an opinion. Their opinions have to be evidence-based. And it's one of the strongest institutions that we have also seen that has evolved during this transition. So the audit reports revealing corruption and the government saying it is half-baked and it's just a mere opinion also tell us the level of political will in combating those corruption. In fact, the government and the office of the president should have been proud of themselves that their institution, under their leadership, under their administration, revealed those financial misconduct, right, and malpractices, and they are going to take actions. But if you come in and say it's half-baked, then you are encouraging people to get into those illicit acts.
It's unfortunate. No, Musa, there is where Halifa Saleh fits in. I'm 1,000,000% confident when it comes on solving our problems. I guess it's a Halifa guy who's saying, and I mean, Yusuf, I do agree with you. If ever they tell me that Halifa Saleh is not committed, then I know that, because he's one person that I believe will be committed to fight corruption. No doubt about that. But then,
no, what, Marr, I want to just to do this follow-up. Marr, you were talking about the courts, the laws. But if we are going by the first part of our conversation, the lack of implementation of the judgments by the executive, where they refuse to implement judges or decisions by the courts, then we are still in no man's land. It doesn't matter what laws we have, because the laws, we can write the best laws in the world. But unless those laws are actualized, it's nothing but black and white written on a piece of paper. So if I am to go by everything we said here, then one can really conclude that we have a government that is not ready to fight corruption, does not have the political will to fight it, and is not even interested in fighting it because of, to them, look at what happened to Banja, like Musa said. And people say Banja. You know what? In fact, they chose and picked who they wanted to prosecute in that case, because the report that Mustafa wrote was real and exclusive. There were so many people implicated. So they picked him out, put him in jail, and within a year and said, you know what, we are releasing him on health reasons. So again, what he says is a government that is not serious to first implement the laws that are written, and second, to fight anything. So corruption would be celebrated, and for a good reason. Look at all the ministers that we have. You go into a ministry for 2 months, so for Guinea fu nek sa lekh yaangi fukki ba buga de bati no boy taxaw ngess na yi taxaw la ngi leer nañ. Why would you fight corruption?
Say the local government, what's coming out of our local government, you'll be like, I am not, I
and it's the same thing across the board, all of them.
And what is going to happen with all these revelations that is happening? Let's wait. Becha pay, but you said lan moy xew. These people are basically.
I can tell that my Lucy Gena do bari because gis na fi Jane Commission seen report bi lu fi gay génné ak ñum implicate government bam démé ba am interest ak gaay lan la gaay def,
yeah,
right, du den dem change loi bi pour ñu mëna make sure ñu andi leen gis neen tamit look holal ki ni the one from social security Manjang. When Manjang came and he tried to close all doors of corruption in the social security, nakalen ko def den ko génné. So dafa doy waar te tapale boobu noonu moo leen nekk di tardel ñoom seen boppam. Wow.
And it's a rare, I mean, I hate to say this, it's a rare trait among us as Gambians to be really committed and just call it for what it is. And that is, if something is corrupt, let the chips fall. We just massage it and for whatever reason. And most people will tell you they are totally against it. It makes them sick. But if it comes to really,
are they really against it, Usa?
I mean, just rhetorically, they will tell you that.
That's the thing. Like I always say, any country in the world where if you ask who are the honest ones, we start counting, we have a problem.
A huge problem.
If you ask, oh, who are the honest one, and they start Musa the honest one, oh, nakala ture wajo nekon ki bugu dara, naka ture bugu dara ko honest la one. Let me think again. And this is a country of close to 2 million people, but we can count, and even to count 5 is a problem. And that's the thing, we accept it, we tolerate it, and this is where I was coming. I heard this guy telling me to go and learn my deen and all that business. What I'm saying, Moine, the same vigor in which we go after all these things. If we are going after corruptions like that, maybe we'll have a problem. I was just telling somebody about something, Musa. I don't know, I told you too. If the Gambians were as impatient about their governance system as they are with their football, maybe we would have been somewhere else. Look at when we're playing. Everybody has an opinion. Nobody wants to be, they would speak their minds about it. They will criticize the boys. They will criticize the coaches. They will create anything. But when it comes to the people who are pretty much making you go to die on a nakalatura donkey cart or to give birth on a donkey cart, you just become indifferent. So maybe we have our priorities mixed up. I'm serious. But the day that we become as serious about our governance system as we are with our football and that impatient, maybe we'll finally have people in government who will be doing what they're supposed to do. But the whole thing is just a mess. But Marr, I know we've had you here now for so long, and definitely what you are doing is really great. You will get a lot of pushback. Government sometimes would work with you because they do not have any other option but to do that. But they will also try to find a way to like Madi would say, you know how they would just organize a meeting for COCS, the COCs, you go there. Also, we are having a conversation with them. We because they try to do that, and that is one way of, you know what, Marr, let's come to our office, let's have this conference, let's have this thing. So you'll get that. But thank you, because at the end of the day, believe me, corruption is the cancer why Gambia cannot go anywhere.
I totally agree. I think
you are the real deal, not Musa Jeng's real deals. You are one of the real deals.
If there is one criteria that every Gambian should use on who is going to be elected in 2026, I think corruption should be uppermost if we really want to change the trajectory of the country. Absolutely.
No, you must not only be incorruptible, but ready. to fight
Maglalawa.
corruption.
I mean, that's what it
Yes.
is. I mean, because it's very easy to be just rhetorically, every Gambian, yeah, corruption be ni, corruption be na. And I'm telling you that just like Marty is saying right now, you know, I mean, it's really the truth. But Mar, again, we thank you immensely. And but Brother Sariang, I haven't heard a lot from you. I mean, I'm always concerned when I don't hear you.
No. I was listening. I mean, we were round and round when you were behind the scene. But
Yeah, you
you
were
say
there.
you
So
say.
you were not here. How would you know what he said?
Yeah,
or
how
did
would
not
you
say?
know? But coach, he said one thing. He said one thing in Wolof. He says lamb lambing.
Yes.
Man, dumade lamb lambing. Do you understand?
Yeah. It's like when you just
But hold on. I'm gonna Mar is here, and I gotta sometimes when you say these things, I have to brush up on my Wolof a little bit, and practice, because that takes me to the song that John Sex said. He says, "Amud by Amud Day, Jurut Ken Jurut Ko."
Yes.
Mune kui lam dimbale suñ borom man sariam bokuma ci man chon bokuma ci Musa Jeng su fekkee ne kuy lam corruption.
No,
But where is he? I want him to get this because
he ran away. He could not handle that. But Mar, definitely.
Mar, thank you. That is for you, Mar. Kui lam corruption. Huh? Na yala werko. I werko.
All of a sudden.
No, you'll be giving certificates. I'm serious.
I missed all that fun.
Oh my God.
Okay, hold on, man. Now you're back. Mane, danga wane lam and mane lolu. Daf made fate lo chon seka woya mune ken mom mune amud day amud bay. Jurut ken jurut ko. Kui lamen dimbale suñ borom. Man chon seka bokuma si mane. Su feke ne kui lamen corruption. Na yala werko.
Maritani, I swear to God, now I have given you here in Suwa.
But
you know what?
I wish I could say that in Mandinka. I've been celebrating myself.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Saria, and it's always a pleasure talking to you all, and keep up the good work that you've been doing. You've opened up the space from, us being at the stage, following your work, and being in here. Just wanted to say we are not an enemy to any institution. We are not an enemy to any individual. We just don't want to be an enemy to our own self and our country, and that's the reason why we're doing what we're doing, and making sure that the country progress. In fact, if the country progresses under any administration that works with us to make sure things work, they take the credit. It's not us. No government around the world is going to say congratulations to what Marr has done, but they will say to the administration and how they're able to, increase the economy of the country, reduce corruption, increase the human development of the people. They take the credit. We are not interested in that credit. So we are doing what we ought to do, and just to say that we're going to be here for either short or long time, but we will not allow to be subdued to an extent that we fall our hands and let our country sink. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Marr.
Thank you.
Keep it up. And Musa, the difference between the people like the Marrs and the Mahdis, you see, the character of an individual is always very apparent.
Yeah.
During very trying times and sometimes very sweet times. It was 7 years ago, almost 7 years ago, a few days ago, that Haruna Jatta was killed. And there's a reason why I'm bringing this thing up. Do you remember who used to be in the forefront of asking for justice for Haruna Jatta?
No, I don't remember.
Fabakary Tombong Jatta.
Now he doesn't even speak it.
When was the last time Fabakary Tombong Jatta even mentioned Haruna Jatta?
No, he wouldn't.
He wouldn't, because when he was doing it, he was not doing it.
Committed to Haruna Jata or
It was not. His
No.
commitment was never to Haruna Jata. His commitment was to his agenda.
Yeah.
As soon as he was giving a position of privilege, Haruna Jata is not significant to him anymore. And this is why the people that must be avoided by any means. If you look at Fabakary Tombong Jatta, chances are nobody goes to the mosque before him. He is always there. And he would portray this holiness in him. No, Fabakary Tombong Jatta like jam here. Because you see, the character of an individual is not necessarily judged by how many times they pray or how many times they go to the mosque. You look at Fabakary Tombong Jatta, this was the same guy who, and Sidinjai, Fabakary in particular, who was telling us that the TRRC report, where did it belong?
In the dustbin.
Isn't that what he said?
Yes.
What was his position when it was brought before the National Assembly to be validated? So that we'll establish courts that would now charge and try Yaya Jammeh based on that same report that was supposed to be thrown into the dustbin. So you see, they are spineless people. And Fabakary Tombong Jatta and his ilk, I believe, are the worst people that anybody would associate themselves with. Man, I would rather associate myself with Kohamne Amudara, but believes in what they are doing. But unfortunately, in the Gambia, a Madi Jobate.
Fabakary Tombong Jatta is not in the minority. It's not even the exception.
No, he is not.
Some of our people are just like that.
And that's the thing. But
they are there.
Yes. And you see a person like, let's say when a Madi Jobate speaks, they will portray him as a troublemaker. Ki amul faida. This guy, all he does is talk. And this is somebody who has core beliefs that he's not going to waver from. But if Fabakary Tombong Jatta, because of Johanenko speakership from Nekani, he has no, anybody whom he knew and was fighting with, whatever they were fighting, dude, you are on your own. I am here. At least Watchmok CD Tapala Panjai had the decency of telling his APRC people. I heard when they told him, you know what, we'll be giving you, we don't mind even, giving you some money every month. Wow. All of a sudden he manufactured his family relationship with Adama Barrow and now is doing. So at least Kokubo was upfront. But just Musa to tell you what is wrong with our country is spineless people who believe in nothing whatsoever. Give them money and they would forget it, but they have no principles in the first place. I just had to say that.
You kept talking about Emari Jobate and Marr Nyang and some of these laudable people that but then let Emari Jobate run for office or Marr Nyang run for office. Again, it comes back to us as a people. They'll be lucky even if they get 2% of the votes. What does that? It doesn't tell you about what it's about. I mean, it's about us. Again, it comes back to us. What we celebrate. Linde support. That's who we are. Really, a good chunk of us are like that. Unless we have coming back to what this platform is known for, a transformational leader to lift this country and fight this culture that is in us and really mean business. I'm gonna pass on one time we were talking. Manila. See, it's nothing about Yahya Jammeh that I like. Absolutely nothing. But he has something, Lord Hamne. I wish we have a leader who at least borrow that from Yahya, means well, and go after people, turn the country upside down and fight the cancer of corruption. You see, the way he does things, he was the word.
He was the gangster.
You are making false equivalencies again. I don't know why you invoke Yahya Jammeh's name.
Mangi mean the trait that he likes to portray. You know what I mean? Right? A lot of people will tell you, even in all these departments, they were very scared during the time of Jammeh because they know what would happen to them. I'm saying if we had a leader like that with that trait, but at the same time committed to fighting corruption, preserving democracy, I think Gambia will be at a different place. Really, I mean, I seriously believe that. We have to have.
But people, there was corruption in his government too. What are you talking about?
There was absolutely corruption in his government. I'm not saying Mangi Mine, the trade that Jammeh used to portray himself.
Man, any trade that you associating with Jammeh, Musa,
it's a problem.
That is,
I agree.
yeah, it's
I
a problem, man.
Musa, Mangi is close, buddy. When I was a man and not a puppet like Jammeh, Bilai Boni and Hamulen one Jammeh. Jammeh was the bigger puppet. Jammeh, go about and read this report. The rendition program, America's rendition program.
Right.
Because they could not torture people on American soil. So the CIA was using other places. Gambia was one of those. Jammeh was the president. They brought at least 3 prisoners were brought to the Gambia, tortured, and they left. Nobody heard about it. And maybe we, in fact, have to look at how Chavez, after visiting the Gambia, all of a sudden came up with that cancer thing.
Chavez, Maruan, what are you insinuating?
The guy was not. The guy was a bigger puppet. He talked a big game, but never lived up to it. Yes.
A leader that would definitely, at the uppermost, it really comes down to somebody who has the will, the political will.
We just have to have people who love. You see, if you love the people genuinely, you are never going to steal from them. And if you don't steal from them, you are setting a precedence for how many, at least people around you may not feel so free to steal from the people. And that's what we lack. A person like Thomas Sankara, you see why Thomas Sankara was so endearing to the people? It was because of the life he lived.
Yeah.
He's a guy, I've seen the new guy doing it. I'm still not sold yet. I'm still taking my time, doing due diligence, before I get on his bandwagon. I don't support government.
I think, was it Koto Sidisane?
Yes.
He was kind of touting the guy. I'm like, but the guy came through the barrel of the gun. So are we going to be?
Yeah, because the thing is, like when Thomas came, he understood the problem and said, you know what? I don't need to earn a president's salary. I'm a captain. I'm earning a captain's salary. He didn't come and promote himself like Jammeh did to 4-star general or whatever. No, he maintained his captain thing. And everything he did, people saw that, you know what, this guy was not living above us. And when he died, he had less than $200 in his account. When he did asset evaluation, he started with himself first. Declare all his assets, they checked everything. So people were, you know what, at least this is something good. But when you have people who were, let's say, I've heard when Barrow used Bana in reference to the UDP, it reminded me of the piece that Saul Sadikan wrote. You know, when he was named their candidate and UDP came up talking about he had his degree at the University of Manaka in real estate. You know, he's a businessman. And Saul Sadikan wrote this piece. I have to look at it and say, you know what? Let's not mistake a Bana with a businessman.
No, a merchant.
Wow. I have to look for that piece. Every time I read that, Saul Sadikan has a way with words. And he was telling me this guy is not a businessman. He is just a Bana merchant. That's it. A businessman will write business plans. So let's not tout him as what he is not. But that's the thing. But it is what it. But again, to contribute, Musa, we have to. We can do much better.
No, I mean, absolutely no doubt. I mean,
I was gonna say something. I was gonna say more Mustafa Swani needs to investigate that real. I say Mustafa Swani needs to investigate the diploma in real estate from England.
No, it did not exist. UDP just came here and did you see that thing? And you know, they were very, you know, because it was then Cairo Kibaro, one of those you did publish it. I'm like, okay. Nobody knew the guy. So they said, you know, he went to, and, you know, he came and told us that he was taking 9 buses to go. I'm like, I want you to study that. You cannot be taking 9 buses to go to work and
It's
have
just
time
like
to go.
land bosses, huh?
Small cousins here, they were going for with it. When you go to Bantaba,
No.
You know, I'm not gonna name this guy. Unless he starts violating human rights.
Yeah, I'm okay with him.
I'm okay with him.
No, and you know what's funny? I was just reading something I wrote 7 years ago last year. And I was like, this picture of, because there was a picture that was circulating of what's his name? Haruna Jata's, you know, apparently they say it was his intestines oozing. I could not verify, but just such a picture to me in my head is just unsettling. And I was reading through it, Musa, and seeing people, they said, who today would want to just chop your head off if you say that Barrow, you know what, Barrow is a human being. Oh, this Pasamba is too much. He's a hypocrite. This, so it's like nobody even wanted to hear that. What did he do? Why was he protesting? They bull Echo was this thing. I'm like, okay, you know, yeah. But those were the days. But again, like I was telling somebody about Senegal, you know, when I wrote the thing about Bah Jahate being sentenced to jail, I would never support that anywhere. So I got a call from a Senegalese. And he was trying to explain. I listened to him. I'm like, here is the thing that you don't understand. I believe that this PASTEF, the hope that people have on PASTEF is beyond Senegal. There are a lot of people in Africa looking at it and saying, you know what, maybe finally we are having a group of leaders who can come and transform Africa or whatever. And I believe that if they fail, it would be not only a failure for Senegal, but at least for Africa and our aspirations for good leadership. And I said, so we cannot be blinded by our desire to see these people, love them, or see them succeed to the extent that we cannot question what they did. That's the mistake that we made, Musa, when Barrow came.
Exactly.
Give him chance. You cannot say anything. By the time you're ready to question, it is too damn late. So that's why, to me, no government, man, there is no government. Even Musa Jeng, if you were to become president, in fact, I will never trust you with my rights. Even if you were to become president today of this country, huh? Oh, no. Our relationship would change somehow, because I will not trust any human being with my rights. And the
But I have a question.
Yes.
I have a question. What is about what's your understanding of Bana Bana?
Okay, Bana is like pretty much, you know, petty trader.
Yes.
Very informal.
Very informal businessman, petty trader, Bana, you know.
But you know what though? I think Usainu handled that particular aspect.
No. That was,
I think he killed it. He took it. Oh my God. In that interview, he said, the party that you call Bana
is the party that
is the same party. I mean, I think that was the most effective response. Really.
And it was good. And that's why I was disappointed with I think Usainu dafa sukur domadaji. Because when Usainu had that interview with Peter Gomez,
yeah,
you can have this distinction between a statesman and somebody who was just playing games. Because Usainu handled that interview so well that you listen to it and you know what? I may not agree with what he said about this or that, but at least he is a guy who had shown that, you know what, I'm not this guy's class. But when you push and then you go talking about, you know what, we'll meet violence with violence, and you are again, you know, employing the same tactics that he's employing. Because one thing that you cannot do is have your opponents define how you're going to spread your message. And I think when he did that, he pretty much hegemonized the whole conversation. But I think that he handled that interview that he had very well. I would not have gone into this gatsa business. I don't think that helps anybody.
The banner thing, I think during that interview, there are quite a few issues that you can disagree all you want that he handled it well. I mean, like I told you behind the scene, I mean, I wouldn't have gotten into this NAR business and Talib, and there I disagree a little bit. But the other issues, I think he handled it extremely well. Now,
no, even the NAR, sir, I think the NAR business, he handled it. When he said, Mom, he would not even, Sunekon Talib said he would not have responded to that because that is beneath Talib, Sibopam. So, Hamga, you two things are what he nyaka faida la Sibopam. It's not something that anybody should respond to. But yeah.
But the other issue is and I see some, and again, I'm going to come back to Saul. Saul likes to throw that around. This gatsa business. Somehow, this is something that worked in Senegal and is going to work in the Gambia. I don't even think UDP should get anywhere close to that kind of talk. Seriously, I think politically it's just defeating. That somehow, the only way that this you bring violence, we're going to meet it with violence. That is not Usainu. That is not the kind of talk, I believe, that should come out of Mr. Dabo, because this is somebody who is not even known for that. He has always been, whether during the 15, 20 years of Jammeh, he's always. So for him to say that, I don't even know what. I just don't see the political win-win out of talk like that at all.
I don't think it is. I think feel good.
And
if there is one thing that the UDP has going for them, and they cannot allow anything pulmo hejamalko. When they've been able to fight this government in the most effective way, legally, they've done that under Jammeh, but now I think it has gone to another level where you are now embarrassing this government, forcing them to make changes that they would not have necessarily made with these litigations and all these things. Now, this will require their coming back and somebody will say, listen, we are a rule of law party, and we will continue to use the laws. You see how we are going to the courts and making them run to make the changes, and you see, that's what we are going to do. Because at the end of the day, we believe in democracy. Those who do not believe in democracy will be the one that would go outside of the law. So that's because I think that what they are doing, definitely, like I said, having, like, for a very long time, UDP had considered this wittingly or unwittingly, this intellectual thing, policy thing to other parties. Now you cannot say that anymore. They are there every time, whether it is Mane or Cisse or going out there, they're talking about policy and this thing. When was UDP among any policies? Now they're utilizing the courts in the most effective ways, and they are winning. One thing you don't want to do more, to be distracted and then going back to the politics, that would work for them. And that is sometimes, let's go into the mud. No, you go there on yourself.
The two issues that most reasonable people went after Barrow, on this issue about, this is my government, my police, my that bravado, that chest pounding and basically most people would say that, look, this reminds us of Jammeh. We're not interested in that. Really. And when he got into this NPP, talking to NPP supporters, I heard Dr. Cisse every time, they can't even defend that, what the president meant by that. You guys fight, whatever, however you define the word fight. And if I were to advise Barrow, let's even assume that there are opposition parties that are within the government, and really you don't trust them. Even here in America, they play that game. What do the Republicans call them? They call it, there's a word for it, Serian. When civil servants...
Right. Well, rhino.
No, rhino, that's for the people that are against Trump. But I'm talking about a government that is against Republicans that are within the system. They have a word for it. But I'm saying, let's even assume that is true. There are UDP sympathizers in your government, and you believe that they're sympathizers. The way I'm going to speak on that issue would have been, look, we have our differences. You can support any political party you want to support. I have a party that you do not support. But if there is one thing that we have in common, and that is a country, and I assumed, and all of us would have to work together in the interest of our people. If you're going to do this for political reasons, then all you're doing is undermining the viability of our country. I think that is something, that is the kind of talk that a leader should be. You cannot be talking about, oh, my supporters, you go there and fight, and I will defend you. It did not make sense. I mean, and most people were against it. And also the issue of and I think Hussein, his interview with Peter Gomez, he handled it well. But when he went in and then get into this gatsa business, I'm like, are you really kidding me? That is really all you have? That you're gonna meet violence with violence come 2026? Come on. That is good politics? You have to understand why you even lost 2021. This is a party that's been stereotyped unfairly. A party of fitna, unfairly. And all you're doing is, with that kind of talk, you're buying into the bait sometimes. Sometimes I feel like NPP bait UDP and then they just kind of lose it. You cannot win with that kind of gatsa. I mean, I don't think it worked. It might have worked for Pastef, but I don't see it working for us, really.
No, it's not even going to work for Gambia, Sibopa Musa. Gambians.
No, it wouldn't work for us.
But to me, definitely, I think Mr. Dabo's interview he really handled it. And you can see the distinction between somebody who is a statesman and somebody who is just interested in Mirichahanak, Gologi File, Hari File Jarak, Gologi File, and we have to be able to elevate our discussion to policies and programs. And one thing you cannot do, to in fact help the government to focus on other issues rather than the problems that are confronting the country.
And
people disturb us.
I also believe that UDP needs to resist making it about Dabo and Barrow. Seriously, I think that's a serious mistake. The moment the whole thing gets reduced to the personality of Mr. Dabo and the personality of President Barrow, I don't think that's helpful. That's just my take.
But that is difficult to avoid, though.
I know, but you cannot make it about that. It has to be about the government. You see, the 2026 has to be how would they call it in this country? It has to be about the government and not
referendum on the government.
The referendum on the government. Thank you, Sailor. Referendum on the government rather than, you know what I mean.
Yeah. And then
Dabo no respond. And then
no, I would not even respond. You know what? The question that I'm asking you, more, let me promise on that get
exactly.
Tell me about your livelihood. So that's his question. My man, I'm not his problem. His problem, the country
exactly.
You know, but anyway.
Father Mo, so today, Daniel Dal, you know.
No. I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, if you disagree with me, tell me I disagree. I know that you are quiet, but
I'm what?
Hear your take.
And Jere Fofana, what he's saying too, of course,
remember what happened in the last election. NPP attacked people in petrol station and people ignore them. Nothing come out of it. It's not going to happen again. Look, this whole idea, sir, Jere, like, since after the election in 2021, Pastor, but I think I even asked you this question. Has there been violence kind of?
Well, they tear gas in his house.
After
that was after the elections when his supporters were there. They tear gas the place, and that when police were seen on video celebrating, abusing UDP people. And here is the thing, Musa. President Barrow should start acting as the president of the Republic of the Gambia, president of all Gambians.
I believe so.
This whole talk of every opportunity that you have is getting old. Usainu
I
leaves,
think so.
Papa leaves, No. Sa Papa is not the issue why Gambians are suffering in that country right now. Whatever political differences you have this thing.
Do you know why he does that though?
Because maybe he believes that he would bait them into
See,
responding.
do you know why he does it? I mean, because that's he believes in his head. That's what got him re-elected even in 2021. They really do believe that. I mean, when you believe in something, it's the go-to at every turn. I mean, you would have thought, this man could have even waited till the real, when we get to the elections, then you can get into that.
He would never
for
do
me,
that.
Politically for Barrow, if I were to advise him, it would be the president for every Gambian, like you said. I would be about bringing people together more than anything else, rather than, this chest pounding and bravado and, and listening to people that are telling you, Suron Barola, Suron Jamela. That is nonsense. Those are the wrong people that you're listening to. They are the very.
They're not helping him. They're not helping the country. But Barrow is Magi Popamla too.
Yeah, Musa, I think what Gere is alluding to is the mayoral elections. During one of his campaign, how he goes out of tangent and go off script.
Yep.
Yeah.
And in Mandinka, he said, "My supporters don't sleep.
Yes,
I'll provide attires." And Nene, in fact, I think Nene was, I don't know where. I think Nene was assaulted.
Nene Freda was assaulted.
Yeah, they were assaulted.
Even Ibrahim Adiba was.
Hamga Ibrahim Canning Lai was also assaulted. Nothing came out of it.
Yeah. So
the mayoral elections.
Yeah, it was the mayoral elections that Gere is referring to. There was an incident there. And I agree.
It's not going to happen again. As the fact we're all going back for this. Look, you're not going to win the elections with that kind of talk. Jeff.
Yeah, but Musa, you can't be just saying the fact that let's address. As the president of the republic, you have to set the tone. Absolutely. It needs to be cordial. Absolutely. People, I get people, but Dabo, maybe, as I said, I talked to someone, I say, well, was he angry? Was he because of Ibrahim's arrest and all that? He thinks that this man was just trending on them and all that. And he says, I don't know, but it seems like, all of stuff, human instinct. Like, I think I agree, there could be a better response to that, right? The one that he did. But at the same time, if the president of the republic continue to say stuff like that, that is unpresidential, right? We're talking about unpresidential. And in terms of violence, if you're on the street and somebody punch you, are you just going to say, okay, well, I'm going to put my hands up. No problem. Just hit me. So this is the stuff that we're talking about, right? Yes, we can talk about UDP not to respond to something, but the actual physical action of it, right? So that's what it is. We have to be fair here, right? I'm not saying UDP be violent, but we've seen that. During Merrill Day, actually, Nene, Freda was part of it and some other people, right? I get what you're saying, but I think the blame needs to go back squarely onto the president of the republic. You got to be president for everyone, and you need to set the tone. When you incite these things, like Trump, right? Trump says stuff that is outlandish here, and these people don't know. They just go haywire. You talk to people who are just off. He's all about the Constitution. He's about all that. They bet him all these charges when, in fact, the man did it, right? So you got to be careful who you talk to. Maybe some supporters understand. They are, they are very patriotic, and you got to understand. UDP and MPP. Most of the people in MPP were part of UDP before. So I see that, but I think this whole partnership and being brother to brother, sister to brother, I think it needs to take center stage. And sometimes when I think about Barrow's utterances, it reminds me, I think I was like the man screw up when he formed alliances with APRC, because this is the crap that comes from their camp, right? So it's the APRC, MPP government, the repeller of Barrow to Gambia 2.0, and we got to say that, right? So that's it.
Kamala, this guy, this whole idea, this guy be like, this whole idea, what you see is NPP, APRC over in this. To me, that's hogwash. I don't even believe that. To be honest with you, I seriously do not believe it. But somehow, is this APRC people, the Fabakari Tombong, no. I mean, let's put it where it belongs. Barrow is talking off the cuff. He's saying things like you said is unpresidential. What we do on this platform is fairness, even-handed. Nobody is saying it. What we are saying is this. What Barrow said was totally out of line. For me, politically, it doesn't even help him. This is not the change Gambia, our aspiration, this bravado and chest pounding. We said that. But we are also saying the response that comes from the other side was beneath him. That is, I don't politically doesn't even help Mr. Dabo. I'm not saying sit there, this gatsa business. I see my brothers, Sol Baji is running all over the place. That's a bad way of contesting 2021. And I also said, it cannot be about, I believe, it cannot be about, if this election is reduced to what Barrow said and how Dabo responds, I can guarantee you, my brother, 2026, when an affair la, it cannot be like that. Like
well,
you
said, there's a long time before 2026, and I think most people in UDP, all right, a lot of people out there knows this, and they know debating too.
You need to remove your yellow glasses sometimes. And
no, but I also believe, like Marr said here, Pusante Simarajla Emit.
No, I'm telling you, this has nothing to do with yellow glasses. Yeah. But I think behind the scene, when you talk to people understand what you're talking about, and they are making adjustments, right? One instances where, since Barrow, can you quote me one on this platform where Dabo said to his supporters to go attack MPP rather than the last press conference?
I never said that. I never said that. I have
no. I'm asking you because I guess we're trying to make this whole case that you can't. But one time, because even 2021, when they went and gas folks at his house, he told them to exercise restraint and not to respond. Okay. Right?
Okay.
So I'm just letting you know.
To be fair to him, even though I would not have made the statement that he made.
Correct.
But I think if Mr. Dabo was as irresponsible as the utterances that Barrow makes, I think we would have had a serious problem in that country. I think for the most part, he's been restrained. And even after they lost the elections, because I think a lot of people who were gathered around Mr. Dabo's house, they were just waiting for him to say, you know what, let's go out in the streets and do something. And in our history with dealing with him, like Musa said, he had always resisted that. I remember 2005, after they arrested Khalifa Oje and Ahmad, we were there on that call, Musa. When people were talking about, let's go on and he said, listen, I'm not going to use the people as cannon foders. It's not going to happen.
Absolutely.
So, but here is the thing, though, Moy.
Musa is from Jupiter. I'm just calling it as it is. You don't just like what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day,
sometimes your analysis is skewed, man.
Yeah,
yours is skewed, big time. Yes. Yours.
I think at the end of the day,
no. For the most part, I agree with the sentiment, but the fact that you wanted to squarely. You can't say one thing, you're throwing this whole thing into.
No, you're forgetting what I said. Man, everything that Barrow said, I will never defend it. Not even, I didn't even get into the. I heard Dr. C say the spinners, what he meant by fighting, and so if you want to clean it up, I'm not even going to get into trying to clean it up. All I'm saying is what he said was irresponsible. I don't see him. First of all, this is the deal. Barrow cannot intimidate anybody. Where Gambia is right now, this whole talk of intimidation.
He tried, man.
He can try all he wants. He can try all he wants.
Musa, here's the
but he succeeded in some people going over his camp.
No. Musa, but here's
it has nothing to do with him.
Musa, here's the danger though. He may not be able to intimidate anybody. But when you are a leader who claims that you own the police, you own all these things, and a leadership that have shown that they have no willingness to, in fact, respect the decisions of the courts for the most part, what would happen if you have an overzealous person like Musa Jeng acting on this whole nonsense of defend yourself and go out there. That's why leaders choose their words very, very carefully.
Oh, I agree.
Because so that's the danger. You may not be able to intimidate anybody,
what I'm saying
but
is,
you may enable somebody to do something stupid.
Well, all I'm
Thank
saying
you, Sarian. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I knew you are very independent.
No, he's not. He's not.
Why would you deny me my independence?
You're not.
Musa, you know, coach.
Man.
I'm a coach that they look at things deep down and analyze it. Balance it.
No, yo.
His credibility.
No, I'm not.
And decipher.
Your pendulum has shifted. I mean, there was a hint of independence, but you've lost all that.
Baru, like Nagala Chura, when Pata told Bangare he needed a surgery on that spine.
No. Sariang has lost all that. I'm just saying. Because, look, Masamba, all I'm saying is, Baro can go out there, Gambia Finnekani. At Finnekon time jamming, and the Jamie would say something. Even if you that's not where Gambia is. He cannot intimidate anyone. Now your supporters, my supporters can go there and fight. He can say that till the cows come home. You know, I mean, what is that going to do?
There is always a great chance that some idiot might act on it.
Is it irresponsible? Absolutely, it's irresponsible.
And that's why it is irresponsible, because somebody might act on it. You know?
And also, most importantly, I don't even think it's politically helpful to him.
No, Manda Hamgalan Bugadal Musa. Barodal should all do us a favor, organize elections 2026 in Bokut, give the people a chance to at least elect somebody. Your Kohamini based on this. Because at the end of the day, it's like we are not moving. Huh? Degulo Ken. Ragalulo fi.
Yeah, but I mean,
you know.
But look, man, all I'm saying is, I mean, I'm not trying to make anything out of it. I thought the response from Mr. Dabo, I don't.
But I think his interview was good.
Yeah, some I agree with. Some I think he's, I disagree with. With the NAR issue, I totally disagree. And some of the other issues, I think he handled it well, especially this.
Yo, are you going to play those people, the ads, Musa?
Not, I mean, I told you.
No, but just play what we have. You have to play it.
We said the new ads, and then you didn't give it to me.
Play the one that has like the new ads, please. Because of birthday with you know.
Somehow,
Basang inonu dila dega de haba fan la neka man la laaj na ma you serious ne
he's on
Barrow will organize elections in 20 and not be part of it. What I'm going to hope it's not a strategy. I just hope and this guy the strategy that they are trying to use for affair the new constitution. You know, when Dr. Cisse said as far as they're concerned, this is Barrow's first term. And when I went after him on that, then my mind was drawn back to the draft constitution. You know what they are trying to do? Okay, we're not going to argue that. We'll agree with that. But I'm going to your current term, is part of your term because it cannot go as retroactive as so the retroactivity, they want to start it with this term now. We'll agree to that, giving Barron a chance to run also in 2026. This is their thinking.
So
and I listening to Dr. Cisse when he made that listing, you know this is something that they've been floating among themselves. It's just
so you think because look, Pasama, man, I'm at a point Bohamne. This retroactivity, Fila Harijar, if that is going to deny us
the opportunity to have a new constitution. To hell with it. Let's have the new constitution. Man, I do believe if we have a term limit of 2 terms, I do believe if we have second round of voting, I do believe if we have every citizen, including the diaspora, voting in an election. For me, that's what the country needs right now. And it's going to be in our hands to vote him out of office. The idea that you can manufacture a constitution that Barrow will be totally prevented from running this term, I don't think that is going to be practical. Seriously, especially if he wants to run. I don't think he should run. That will be good for our democracy so that we have a good, let them bring in another candidate. But if NPP insists that they're going to put Barrow to run, there isn't anything we can do about it legally. Now, what we need as a country is to have a new constitution that will give us, now Barrow has to win 51% or any other party has to win absolute majority to win the presidency. I think that is going to change our country if the diaspora also participates in the process. And then at least you have 2-term limits, that is entrance clause that can never be changed. Lolu more open than all this talk, if you ask me.
But one thing we cannot also do more to be so eager to have one that will allow also the country to be held hostage by political interest. Barrow should also to me Barrow.
No,
Barrow.
what do you mean? I'm just saying, bro, because it's an either or for all practical reasons. It's an either or situation. We either go to elections with this stupid 1997 constitution, or we have a constitution that is better. If the only thing that is going to make it, let's say, okay, this retroactivity. If we allow Lolusa the last time around, we pass with it. But on Betty, we are not even dealing with this Barrow problem.
Well, you know what? Barrow was not interested in passing it because but anyway.
Here we go.
You're back to earth from Nekani. So people have really agreed Jupiter from Neka.
Global properties. All they want is look, objectivity and independence, not people that come with an agenda. To that we need to stay with.
Who do we have next week? Oh, Young's Dabo.
Oh, Young's is coming.
Yes, he was supposed to be here today, but because they were doing some work at back, so he couldn't make it. So we're expecting him here next week to talk about what they're doing and the demolitions. This demolition thing, I think, is really getting out of hand. Yeah. I don't like what they're doing, and I think it has become too. The guy has. I think they definitely can do much better because, man, to see what they're doing to people, to me, is just crazy. Man, why are you wearing those glasses, Bas?
Bas, good to see you, man.
Yeah. No, money. I was telling that Youngs would be here next week. I think that's
yes.
He was supposed to be here today, but I saw that they completed the construction that they were doing. I think they were building a road also through Tesito, and they completed it. So he will be here next week. It will be interesting to hear their view, especially with these demolitions that are happening. It's really, really, really sad. Definitely, I think it's just nonsense. The way that they're going about it now, it's like I think it has become too mean-spirited.
Yeah.
No.
Musa might have a different take on that one.
He better not. Musa has a problem with saying Martabo guy they don't do even an effective job. They're not cleaning out after they demolish these places and you just come.
I think one thing that I saw though was like this guy has this wooden chair in front and he asked these guys to break
it. Why would you do that?
I don't understand. Leave it out there. I don't understand. Just to tell the guy to take it inside.
Yeah.
Remove it.
I saw that. I'm like, you know what? This is becoming nonsense. Of course you clear it, but then a wooden chair, you tell the guy to just hammer the thing into pieces for what? It does not make sense. Tell the guy, you know what? Move it.
When I was in the Gambia, like I said, man, I was and I'm still a cheerleader that something needs to be done as far as the road clearing, and I still do believe that. But even at the beginning, I had a problem the way they went about it.
Yeah,
I seriously did, and I said it here. I mean, this whole idea, it has to be done. Not only that, you don't clear road, and I mean, the whole debris is there. Even when I was in the Gambia, I saw it. It's not like you're clearing the road just so that vehicles can use it, but you're not doing that. The debris was just there. That's where I have a problem with. The idea I really like, because I've always had a problem with the Burton Hayden Highway. Everybody, I mean, the whole thing is just, you're talking about slum city. I think we need to get away from that now. But like you guys are saying too, this whole idea of Gil Marto, and I mean, the way the whole process, I think, it's not going to yield.
And you know what is funny? If you have a slum government having a problem with a slum city, problem I am, because you see, when you have to be very strategic in whatever you do. And there was a reason why during the quarantine, the president stopped through executive order and say, you know what, we're going to stop all this thing to give people the chance for their livelihood or whatever for the quarantine. But to see what they're doing to people now, Musa, I just watch it. I'm like, come on now, this is now becoming too damn much. It doesn't even make sense. And I don't know what they intend to achieve, but it's just mean-spirited from Nekani.
Yeah, Musa, but I wanted to bring
is a very smart guy. Anybody who agrees with me is a very smart guy. And
I wanted to bring something though. You are saying that Young is coming next Sunday, but Sunday might be Eid though, right?
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Did we have the program here on Nakalatura?
Good. What are you about to say? What are you about to say?
Did we have a program here on Mr. Sunday?
Why you bothering me? I'm going to jullit ni. Then you jullit eat. So this whole thing, that is why Sarian, your spiritual instincts get in gear. So I'm gonna call Mr. Yankuba and maybe we're gonna do it after the Eid. And we also gonna have a Tabaski special with SFR. So I mean, we're gonna arrange that one too as well. A Tabaski special. That would be, so all of you viewers, watch out for that one. It's in the pipeline. We're gonna be having so we got a lot of things happening. So
is it like a Sunday after Eid then, or is that gonna be?
No, let me walk this behind the scenes.
Oh, okay.
And see whether we're gonna bring, because the Yankuba thing, the Eid thing, definitely we'll have to factor that because Eid is gonna be on Sunday.
Correct.
Up Samba.
Yeah.
He does that all the time.
You know what? No, that's what problem. No, not for me. For the kids back home, yes. In fact, I'm working that day. But here's the issue that I even have.
That's a day off.
No, I'm not getting a day off. I'm going to work. Here's the issue that I have with this whole thing. Musa, you know people are very wicked because I see there is no justification for anybody to sell a ram for 15,000. 18,000, 20,000.
But that's the market, though.
No, but that cannot be the market. The government has decided to waive all taxes on these rams. Musa, they cannot just jump from 7,000 to 15,000 all of a sudden. You're talking about somebody's 1 year salary. It does not make sense.
It's but they have the Pasamba. Really... No, it's not that. It's the Pasambas of this world. I mean, they're the ones buying those harfans, you know. But no, look, I do agree with you, even though things have gotten, because here in the US, for instance, so Bugajenda Harpur Tobaski, you're looking at $200 to $250, which really, I mean, that takes you right there into that 50,000 that we're talking about, right? Because 250 was the exchange rate.
Musa, how much and then how much do those people earn a year here? Why do you always do this?
Why do I always do what?
No. See, exchange rate, how Malana? We're talking about the
saying 250 times $69. That's 17,250. That's what it would cost me to buy a RAM in the US. No, the reason why, what I'm saying is, I do agree with you. But what I'm saying is, it's just the damn inflation more than anything else. I mean, the market is determining that more than anything else too.
like you said, the government decided to lift up all the taxes. Even ferry crossing, Misa, I think they reduced the price of the ferry crossings for these rams.
Yeah.
But
So people should be able to get, but it doesn't. The house. Most of the people that are selling the ram for this much are the Gambians themselves, because people like maybe the people from the Mauritanians, the Senegal, they will be crossing pretty soon. They've not. So all this thing is like, because Gambians have now made it a business.
of
When
course,
where
and I think it's a good thing.
hurry, and then but why do you have to be so wicked that you have to sell it for 18,000,
And
20,000
this is
for what?
all about it, Dr. Barrow's economic policies of making sure that everything is produced in the Gambia. And whether it's the Sudan.
One day I just wish the majority of Gambians would have just said,
Oh, look at this guy. He said 400. Adama Diko Kande, $400 for ram in Seattle. So you go figure. That's
just continue Rek, yo. It's just like it's not different, Rick. When you came and told us, you know what, in the scheme of things, so chege nyatanga wasa pul benachin, domoda, you can buy a plate of domoda for 150 or whatever. That's like $3 or whatever. Just continue with that. But anyway.
I think the government did well.
No, they did well. They did well.
They did well. I mean, Ismaila.
The government now, they're getting a little bit of compliment at the end of the program.
No. Honestly, with that you cannot deny them that. At least they are trying something.
I mean, he went in there. They said the fairness and all that. I have to give where credit is due.
Yeah, the people are
unlike you. No, unlike you never give credit to where it's due, especially to the opposition, to the yellow cousin.
Are you kidding me? Are you seriously kidding me? Ram is costing, according to Dico, in your neck of the woods, 27,000.
No, that's true. Even here, I called the guy, the Pakistani guy.
Let me ask.
He said 350. That's what he said.
Okay, let me ask Dico. What is the average yearly salary of those people that are buying it for 400 here?
No, I think that's the wrong question.
Well, why is it the wrong question? Anyone, we're talking about Gambians, people who are earning $1,000 a month.
If you remember, since you came early in the US, the lamb was probably $30. It went to $80.
Exactly.
Now you can't. No, you cannot find even those at the farm. We go to the farm all the time, and they will say, "Oh, no, these are expensive, feeding them and all that." The average last year, I paid like $400. Yeah, that's true.
So, Pasama, what do you think is the price determinant of these rams in the Gambia? I'm going to tell you, you have to factor it in. Why are people selling it for 12,000 or 13 or 15,000? Why do you think that is?
I don't think it's 13,000. I think it starts with 18,000 and up.
Yeah.
Okay.
13,000 the issue moy Musa, I think they maybe soon they may need to be price control again. That's fine. You are a capitalist. I am not.
Price control would be the worst thing that you can do to solve this problem. I can guarantee you that. It would be the worst, seriously, thing to do. More than anything, prices are going to be determined by the market.
Which market?
The market
that doesn't even exist. Market is just makeshift. It's just like how.
Because these people too have a farm, though, right?
Exactly.
No, hold on, Musa, hold on. I don't agree with you.
I'm not saying you agree with me, man. I don't have a problem in agreeing with assertion that you make. It's not a problem for me.
No, they have a farm, though, Musa. The comparison, though, most of these, especially in the rural area, having those things. I mean, I think they just need to be compassionate, at least.
Compassionate. Bro, you have your shop in Vancouver, and you are not being compassionate. You basically determine what the cost.
No, don't. You're comparing apples and oranges. Linger they def every time. Lamb. You okay?
No, but honestly though, so you're telling me that these selling of these rams by people, these farmers, they're just gouging people. They just
You know what? Somebody just texted me something very important. There is a difference between capitalism and extortionism. And what they're doing, boy, they're extorting Gambians.
No, look, no. They're not. Whatever, however, look, like you, Gambia is a poor country. I'm getting a lot of calls buying rams too as well, and I think they're extremely expensive. All I'm saying is the market is determining the price. I don't think that these people are exporting anyone.
They are extorting them because they know that Musa Jeng would definitely buy a ram. So, if you talk for the youth, that's what they're doing. It doesn't make sense.
If people don't buy, the prices are going to buy these prices are going to come down like nobody's business, or else they're going to have inventory and wouldn't know what to do with it. So again,
and that's a possibility.
Of course. I mean, wait till you mentioned it.
Yeah, like my brother told me, gee, he was, you know what, I'm going to wait. The people that are selling this ram, the people that are coming with the ram, they don't want to go back home with it.
No, they don't.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, and now
somebody said they bought the ram for $20,000. Wow.
Well, Musa, it's not sustainable. Musa.
Somebody who is getting a salary of 6,000.
No, they're sustainable. And then you one by 6 or whatever.
Is the CFA foreign currency. We do not produce enough lambs, therefore we depend on foreign markets. That's what this Joel is saying.
But what I can tell Joel, though, I understand that the ram guy door and the guy Gambia. I'm with anything there for foreign exchange. Gambia for foreign guy boys living. That's what a lot of them do.
No,
they raise them high.
If you have a breeder,
nothing was exported.
Yeah, if you have a breeder, to be honest with you, how many do you think?
They're not coming pre-pull guys said 20,000, 30,000. No, then you know fake market guys said
I think you guys have been fair with them too, because they live in a country bohamne. Prices are high. They need to sell their products in order to be able to pay rent.
Thank you for saying that we are being fair to them, because we are being fair to them.
No, you are not being fair to them.
No. You said we are being fair to them.
No, money, you are not being fair to them. Because sometimes
you will always like Baka used to tell you, you will always defend the big man,
I'm not defending
against the little man.
These are petty traders. These are our cousins in the rural area.
Musa, then you don't even know you do get chili from Nekani. The petty bourgeoisie, from Nekani. But anyway,
I'm gonna tell Barrow must go platform that Musa is backing Barrow every time, man.
No, I'm not going.
Let me tell you, I'm not backing anyone. You know the person that I'm backing? A democracy and independent Gambia. I don't get carried away. We've been on this thing for a long time. Changing faces does not necessarily mean that changing our democracy. I don't care about how much can go or this cannot go. What I care about is to vote for somebody that.
Oh, now you're provoking their platform now. Now, is that what you're doing, Musa? No. Is that what you're doing? I mean,
you are the one who raises it.
No, I want to. So you have a problem. You have a problem with their program.
I do not have a problem.
Okay, and to what I'm saying is, you hear this, Juka, you hear this, Hadi Kinte, you hear this, Mam Lisa, your uncle is at it again. So
no, like I think it was Hadi Kinte the other time. You want to coach the Malay go Jackson for the people. Legi again what the tangal. Manoko
What does it mean by tangal? I think that's the issue.
You're sounding like Bill Clinton. What do you mean by the word is? What does the word is mean?
No, but of course, if somebody tells you again what the tangal, what does he mean by that?
Because they think you have a soft spot for
no, this is this platform. The last time I checked, this platform is not anti-opposition, it's not anti-government. This platform is pro-democracy. It's for the people, by the people. I think.
You got the last word, Musa. You got the last word, Father Boss. Chief strategist, you break it down. But guys, invite. They wanted to invite you on their platform.
Oh, I would love to. Come on, invite to Masadi Bantaba when the hit was really.
But why didn't you show up? And you know what? If he invites you to the Bantaba, I'll be sitting right next to you to Bantaba. I can tell you.
No.
Which Bantaba? Monica Fi Kirfato.
No, UDP Bantaba. No, UDP
okay.
Bantaba. I was there one time and they told me, get rid of this guy. They didn't want to hear what I had to say.
So you're gonna reach out to your buddy Sehu to send this up?
No, Sehu Fimnega, he's on a different wavelength, I guess. I don't know. Let me let them do their politics. You know, let me let them do their politics. But so you don't get them saying like Baro must go. Is there Baro must go platform?
Well, I watch it every time. I've
been there a number of times.
Sometimes they get into our own thing. They said, Mom Lisa will say, I say, Father Mose, how you doing? so they get into our case once in a while. So you go
and you know Hamga Mose would come here and would be slanging everything. Sorry,
yeah.
So Juka,
Mustafa, you know.
Juka Mune, I remember one time Mune, Uncle Muzamum lege mudugachi nyai bi.
When you corner him, he goes, hold on.
Yeah.
They want you to be scripted, the agenda.
Yeah, the agenda boy Gambia. So, you know, it's the agenda. We have to, you know, things are the more it's not sustainable. That's it.
Okay, what is it, Bob, today? When they bring you to online, which one is online Bantaba?
No, when he will bring you to online Bantaba.
He said you.
UDP.
Which one is the online? The Seku Libby.
Yes.
I've been there before, and I'd love to be there too. Really? I mean, there isn't one.
So APR APRC NPP platform be invited kunla. Baro Media. Nyom nyara they are tied to the hip. So.
Oh, I don't even know about that.
Oh, okay.
I don't even know about that. I will go to that platform. Seriously. I will definitely go. I'll tell them the good things about what Dr. Barrow is doing and the bad things that he's doing, and that Gambia needs change come 2026. I'll tell him.
Dr. Barrow.
Yes, that's what I call it now. Because I know it gets under your skin.
Mark, I get it under my skin, mom. You know, gisna Dr. Didi. Guy nangu na sen PhD ba delo ko 1 million number. So
Didi, why can you Didi? Did you see him? What he did to that girl?
No, what did he should have followed? I would kill him.
Yeah. Sir,
if you do that to my suma dom, the malarai. Hi, you're not going to survive that. That is just your wickedness.
Before we go, I'm getting concerned. Elections, Biden and Trump, very concerned. What's your take?
Vote for Cornel West if you want to have a genuine, honest leader. I think it will take itself. You know, I mean, you know, one thing I remember about the media. Sometimes you look at it, you watch them, man. I was like, screw, I'm gonna just switch it up. You know, they keep building this narrative. This is a man, you know, who has never taken any type of responsibility in his life. He's indicted, 34 counts. He's a felon. And as folks put it, you know, we have two-tier justice system in this country. And I think even in the Gambia, that's what we were talking about, right? Can you think about it? Someone in his position who even has a misdemeanor is not going to be able to do certain things. This is a man who is contesting for the presidency and has a real shot to become president. But that felony conviction still stands. So you kind of question the democracy and all that stuff. But Musa, I think it's going to face, I'm waiting for the debates. I think the old man is going to get to him, and he called him as it is. If I was him on the platform, he wants to be, you know, he never wants to take responsibility. I'm not going to shy away playing the politics with it. You'll say, hey, did you take permission from your probation officer?
I think, so you're saying that he should go low?
Oh, yeah, well, absolutely. I punch him and say, hey, you're saying all these things. You are a convicted felon, but did you take permission from your probation officer? You know, when he does that, you know how his ego, he's going to like get all upset. And that's the way that he's going to lose that debate.
This is, let me read you what my candidate said.
No,
No. You're interested in democrats. Just listen to my views. My president, now is the time to get beyond the lethal choice between the convicted criminal Donald Trump and the war criminal Joseph Biden. Finally, Trump received some kind of accountability as a bona fide gangster, and Biden is now an undeniable genocide enabler in Gaza. If there is to be some decency and justice left in America, we must get beyond these two disgraceful politicians.
I can guarantee
this is why I am running for president to reintroduce America.
Even his own household, they will not even vote for him.
Is Biden not an enabler of genocide in Gaza?
What I'm concerned about,
Is Biden not an enabler of genocide? Money. Is Biden not an enabler of genocide in Gaza? Please answer that question. What is happening in Gaza? Is that genocide, Musa? Musa, what is happening in Gaza? Is it genocide or not?
It is genocide.
Who is enabling it?
No.
Joseph R. Biden. Thank you very much. Is it Trump a convicted declaratory felon now?
Look.
So you have a convicted and enabler of genocide.
People in Michigan and folks like you talking
vote
about
for Cornel West.
If you want the liberation of Palestine, I can guarantee you that voting against Biden, somehow you are sending a message. Just because of
I can tell you that.
Listen. Why don't you listen? If your whole issue is the Palestinians, if your whole issue who to vote for is about the Palestinians, I can guarantee you, all right, voting for Colonel West is not going to liberate Palestine.
Not Colonel West. Cornel West. Put some respect. Not Colonel West.
Musa, even voting against Biden or staying home, right, is more dangerous. I mean, I'm telling you, we had this debate at the masjid, and they were telling me, but I say, you know what? I understand. I'm very compassionate. I understand where you're coming from. But you know what? Saying that I'm gonna sit home, I'm not gonna vote.
That's idiotic.
Because don't sit home. Go to the ballot box. If Cornel West is in your district, vote for Cornel West.
If you want a two-state solution, you have a better chance under a Biden administration than Trump.
And you know what? That's not going to happen. Biden is not going to provide you that. Biden is go back to Biden's record on Israel.
Biden has always been talking about the two-state solution.
He doesn't mean it. Biden is not a conniving declaratory Democrat, spineless.
The other issue is this. The other issue is this. Sarian, coming back to what I was saying. When I saw the poll in Virginia, I'm telling you, he's in trouble, big time.
There's a lot of work done here. I get that part, Musa. But I think
at the end of genocide, I think that people are going.
I think that at the end of the day, Musa, what I think about is, am I gonna vote or sit out on my vote because of this whole thing? That I understand, but the president, the Trump presidency, posed the biggest threat to democracy around the world than anybody possible. And that's why European countries are on the edge, because people know how dangerous it is. And the retribution. This is the man who is shying about, oh, I'm going to go after my opponents. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it. He can freaking change the laws of this country because he has the power. So at least,
but no, he doesn't. Unless he has the Congress to do that, that's when
he
can
within the government
this
itself.
Guy is going to use executive powers to do. Trump.
Yes,
you know what? Biden is using money. Biden is using executive powers to be helping bombs drop on innocent kids. So let's not act like Biden is a saint. He's a genocide enabler.
I am not. Look. American foreign policy, when it comes to the Palestine issue, I'm with you. I have an issue with it. And whether it was under Clinton, whether it was under Barack Obama, whether it was under George W. Bush, it has always been the same. So for you to think somehow this guy is a genocidal maniac, different from, if you can call him that, you might as well call Obama that. You might as well call George W. Bush that.
No. Obama. I'm going to make a difference. That's why I pray about Obama did drop bombs from drones on innocent people, killing them. That's why we went and protested against him. I'm not supporting them. I ain't.
But you know, the good thing is it's not going to be left to you because you can't vote anyway. So nobody cares about what you. That's why I was talking to my fellow voter. I know you're lining up.
If you want an honest politician and a breakaway from these dishonest people, vote for Cornel West.
He's not a serious candidate. That's the problem.
Yeah, nobody is serious because he's not a Democrat or a Republican.
He's not a serious candidate.
Why is it he's not serious? Please tell me why he's not serious.
Seriously, he's not.
So Trump is serious?
Is he going to participate in the election, even in the debates? Nobody's going to debate him.
The corrupt political system, what does he participate? Because of the corrupt political system.
Yes, sir.
We have to vote
dominated by the two corrupt political parties, the Democrats and the Republicans. 6 and 9.
6 and 9. Eh, but there was 6 and 9 there. I'm not
no, 6 and
9
but that's true.
6 and 9.
One of the biggest things that take me off if you say MPP and UDP is 6 and 9. Wallahi, Lord, that my dear mate, Lord, I will say that very clearly. And you are taking a jab at me.
It was Mamadou Now that said it.
No, it's confession that Lolo. That's they are not. No, they are not. My good friend Mamadou Ndao, I disagree with him. He's not 6 and 9. Because Abu Wanda alliance with APS and didn't even implement the TRRC, corruption, rampant corruption. Instead of the minister addressing agriculture, rainy season is coming.